yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Yo, got it. Yo, shit on. Yo, shit on. Yo, shit on. Yo, they can't blind your vision, cover these clear mornings. Days fly by, let's make another year for it. Struggling and stressing, brother, but you here for it. Life sends you in a tailspin without no real warnings. Sat on the porch all night, damn, I used to rip flows. All the girls you stared at, yeah, I used to get those. Them chicks started smoking crack, now the kids are all schizos. Another day in the hood, homie, you know how that shit goes. You ever look at a calendar, be scared to count it? He never did a day of time, so we rap about it. Real ones traumatized, we could do without it. System is rigged, they got us surrounded. They talk shit, brown nose, they are in your business. Be your close ones, boast fun, show interest. At your front door, ghost guns, load the switches. For a Rolex, leave you dead, no witness. Let's go. We just trying to live, please leave us alone. We fighting for justice, we trying to make it home. From Proctor to Mulligan in the combat zone. They killed Jigga right in front of the stove. Sitting for summers, just trying to change our ways. Lost the sting, but that sensation stays. Chasing validation, I can see the hate in their face. He is scared he gonna die, history reading today.
Damn.
Welcome to the stream.
Welcome.
James, Jackson, J.F.K.
What up, people?
39,000 feet. Let's go. Let's go. Let's make the goal. 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 Hey yo. Hey yo.
Hey yo. Your man J.F.K. on the beat. I wrote this shit too.
Hey yo. Got it. Yo, shit on. Yo, shit on. Yo, shit on. Yo.
Here we go.
They can't blind your vision, cover these clear mornings. Days fly by, let's make another year for it. Struggling and stressing, brother, but you here for it. Life sends you in a tailspin without no real warnings. Sat on the porch all night, damn, I used to rip flows. All the girls you stared at, yeah, I used to get those. Them chicks started smoking crack, now the kids are all schizos. Another day in the hood, homie, you know how that shit goes.
You know how that shit goes.
You ever look at a calendar, be scared to count it? He never did a day of time, so we rap about it. Real ones traumatized, we could do without it. System is rigged, they got us surrounded. They talk shit, brown nose, they are in your business. Be your close ones, boast fun, show interest. At your front door, ghost guns, load the switches. For a Rolex, leave you dead, no witness. Let's go. We just trying to live, please leave us alone.
Leave us
fighting
alone.
For justice, we trying to make it home. From Proctor to Mulligan in the combat zone. They killed Jigga right in front of the stove. No more sitting for summers, just trying to change our ways. Lost the sting, but that sensation stays. Chasing validation, I can see the hate in their face. He is scared he gonna die, history reading today. Welcome to the stream. We be Keith, James, Jackson, J.F.K. 39,000 feet. Let's go. Let's go. Let's make the goal. Make the goal. Make the goal. Make the goal. Make the goal.
Oh yeah?
What up? What up?
What's he pissed about? Should we care? All due respect, should we care? I don't understand.
Why? What happened to Auntie Deb?
I don't know. But we're number 3 on the runway. I go by the name of JFK.
And I go by Kevy Kev.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
And listen, you know how this goes, right? Whatever you got going on, all your good shit, that luggage you got, throw that up in the overhead compartment. But that carry-on you got, make sure you slide it under your seat. Keep it tucked real nice. But before you do, make sure you grab a Cliff Bar, whatever you got in there, Hershey's, some, I don't know, Nips, a vape, whatever your vice might be, because I'm about to take you up to 39,000 feet. And always remember, turbulence in the chat keeps the plane rocking. Populate them goals. And let's get the conversation moving.
Let
Indeed, indeed. Kevy Kev, how we doing, brother?
We're doing good, man. We're doing real good. What about you? Everything good?
Everything is fine. You see this Boston B? Everything is
God
great.
damn.
Feels good.
So what's up?
Feels good to be from Massachusetts. Free Karen, excuse me, free Kelsey Fitzsimmons. God damn. Oh, hell no. You ain't sneaking by me twice in one day. Nope, 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 nope. 3 flights a day. You love it. Well, this is what it is, man. We run a charter service,
God damn.
you know? But I'll tell you, Celtics won 136, 107. Indeed, indeed. Gotta love that. Thank you for the update. Got 165 people up in here. People starting to come in. And we've been talking about a cat named Eddie O'Brien. Eddie O'Brien was a 15-year-old kid who allegedly, well, he got found guilty, but now it's allegedly. New developments in the case 30 years later, he's still saying his innocence. He was saying it back in 1995. He is still saying it. What do you feel about that, Kevy Kev, on the Cash App?
You know, I mean, I mean, it would be, you know, nice if it was the way that was. You know what I mean? I mean, him being not, if he really didn't do it, I mean, he's been held a long time, you know. But, like you just said, I mean, allegedly, with what evidence they do have, at 15 years old, Eddie was incarcerated for this. And it's a scary story, a scary incident. He's probably lived a scary life, too. Can't hear you.
I said 15. You hear me now?
Yep.
15 behind them walls. For sure, for sure.
But it makes you wonder why, after, serving all that time, being away from your loved ones, your family, maintaining this innocence that, you're trying to project to everyone else to see. I mean, is there a time in life where you have to accept, I mean, what has happened and whether you did it or you didn't do it? I mean, can you feel can you feel sorry for this woman?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I think he does.
has he shown that? I mean, I really don't know too much of the case.
That's the other layer, right? That's the layer that we got to investigate. And I think that he really can't speak on certain things because he's still in the appeal motion. Excuse me, in the appeal transition, you know,
I
wherever
mean,
he's at.
allegedly he showed up to this house and made entrance and found this woman like this. Is that what he's claiming? Or
Well, what happens is, and what happened allegedly, he walked across the street, seen the door open, and Janet Down and R.I.P., who was stabbed over 100 times, 37 of them being in her neck. Horrible, horrible, horrible shit. I keep saying this over again. This is no joking matter. We joke a lot on the J.F.K. page. I do not want to mix the jokes up with the seriousness of her brutality of what happened to this woman. So R.I.P. Janet Downing. We know it's been 30 years, but it still remains strong to this day. R.I.P. Janet Downing. We're not saying that Eddie O'Brien is innocent, and we're not saying that he's guilty. We're saying what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Because if, based on what we see, the parallels of the political motivation of a DA who's just got elected in, a governor, Governor Weld, and how they wanted to crack down on juveniles. And he was the face of it. Whether he did it or whether he didn't do it, that is the question. But he was the face. 2 years before that, there was a cat named Sean Ellis who allegedly shot a Boston police officer and took his gun and ran at 3:30 in the morning. And would you believe it? His lawyer was Scapiccio, the same lawyer who's taking on the Miles King case, aka Mizzy Cash. So the tentacles are still there, alive and well, 30 years later. So we get it. You got a YouTube channel. We get it. You're just finding this stuff out. But see, we lived it and we know it by heart. It goes up and down. Sometimes you lock into it. Sometimes life goes on, right? But we're back at it. We're back talking about the shit that always had us, everybody in this chat, long gamers, people out there that are watching, everybody going, I remember that shit. Whatever happened and what and when and how. And the thing is, the reason why I'm bringing it up, because of October of last year, he went up for parole. And the pickle is, if he goes for parole, he would have to admit that he did this crime to get it. But he doesn't want to do that. So like you said, he doesn't have any remorse.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of probably getting his parole granted is that he, if he hasn't shown any remorse or taken any kind of accountability for the actions that happened that night. I mean, he's fucked.
Well, he's not fucked if he didn't do it. He's trying to get
Yeah, but I
exonerated.
mean,
But to get exonerated, you have to find somebody else who did it, right?
exactly. I mean, is there a chance? Let's just say, you're saying that this woman was stabbed over 100 times with a knife. Usually, when you're stabbing that at that rate of speed, or let's say, or that, excessive, there's a good possibility that you might cut yourself.
And
You know what I
that's what
mean?
allegedly happened. So what happened was he walks across the street, seeing his neighbor, his best friend's mother, laid out on the floor. While he's in there, he gets grabbed from the back. Some guy with a stocking over his face said, "Listen, if you don't get out of here, I'm going to kill you and your whole family. Don't say nothing." He's 15 years old. He runs. He goes down to Union Square in Somerville, Mass. Allegedly gets jumped. While he gets jumped, they pulled out a knife. He gets cut in his hand. He goes to the bodega, the corner store where he worked at, and the person who worked there called 911 because he said he got jumped and he was bleeding and he was roughed up. But now he went from there to Burger King first. Excuse me, I skipped the part. He went to Burger King, washed his face, and he said he washed his body because he was sweating like a pig. Keep in mind, he's 6 foot. At this time, he's 6'1", 220 pounds. He's a big boy. The time he went to trial, he was 6'4", allegedly 240. So he's a big guy, period. So he went to Burger King, and like I said, he goes to Union Square. He gets jumped. Now, talk about having a bad fucking day. This guy's having. Because prior to him doing that, he went to church. I think earlier on in that day, he got candy for his sister, and he was having, a day. And then he goes in the house, sees that, almost gets killed by the alleged killer, runs away, goes to Burger King, wipes his body, then goes to Union Square, to the bodega, the corner store. They call 911. The police come. The police drive him home. Then his grandfather says, "Hey, you should go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot. You got to get yourself checked out, buddy, if it was a knife." He goes there. Police show up there. Janet Downing is down at that point. No pun intended. No disrespect. She's, she expired.
Yep.
R.I.P. Janet Downing. Now he lives across the street. Boom, there's the suspect. Bingo. How we doing? Now, thing is, he had a white T-shirt on. Everybody testified that he had that same white T-shirt on that was above the rim, Nike T-shirt. He had it on the whole day. Allegedly, he had that on. The police drove him home. Not one drop of blood on his shirt. The woman was stabbed 100 times, 37 of them in her neck. So,
yeah. I would think that.
Hold on. Let me just say this. Here's the kicker. Yeah. When he's at the hospital, and for 2 years before he went to trial, he never said anything about a guy in the house. He just said he wasn't there. It wasn't me. And during the trial, he writes a note and he slips it to his lawyer and says, "Here's the real story." And he tells the story what I just told you about the guy and everything. And the guy allegedly is the brother-in-law. Now, the brother-in-law.
Well, see, that's what I was just about to say. Maybe he knew the guy in the house.
Yeah. Well, he obviously did, because if it was the brother-in-law that people are saying it was, he actually lived there, and he lived on the bottom. He lived like in the basement apartment, and Janet kicked him out because he was selling the shit. He was selling crack. Back in the days, he was slanging the 8 balls. You know what I mean? Probably had an Alpine 6 Crystal and a 1.8, slanging 8 balls out the fucking hatchback. You know what I mean?
Fuck. Mirror tint. Yeah, no, I know.
With the long mirrors and shit. Like, it had like 8 mirrors on it and shit. And the old fucking 1.8s. Because within 2 years, he talked to the jailhouse lawyers. What? And the jailhouse lawyers told him to make up a story? Is that what you're saying, Mr. James Jackson? As a matter of fact, where the hell is James Jackson? He got some nerve to be in the chat talking when he should be up here talking. God damn, James.
God damn, James, where you at, bro?
God damn, James.
God damn.
Hey, yo.
Where's James? James Jackson, where are you, man? Let's go. We got to get into it.
Yeah. Shit on. Shit on. Shit on. Yeah. They can't blind your vision, cover these clear mornings. Days fly by, let's make another year for it. Struggling and stressing, brother, but you here for it. Life sends you in a tailspin without no real warnings. Sat on the porch all night, damn, I used to rip flows. All the girls you stared at, yeah, I used to get those. Them chicks started smoking crack, now the kids are all schizos. Another day in the hood, homie, you know how that shit goes. You ever look at a calendar, be scared to count it? He never did a day of time, so we rap about it. Real ones traumatized, we could do without it. System is rigged, they got us surrounded. They talk shit, brown nose, they are in your business. Be your close ones, boast fun, show interest. At your front door, ghost guns, load the switches. For a Rolex, leave you dead, no witness. Let's go. We just trying to live, please leave us alone. We fighting for justice, we trying to make it home. From Proctor to Mulligan in the combat zone. They killed Jigga right in front of the stall.
Through Rula, it's easier to connect
convenience store called Midnight Variety, where he stocked the coolers and he put together the Sunday papers.
In Somerville.
And she had twin sons named Ryan and is usually appointed in a parental custody case. And the guardian ad litem is to advocate for children who don't have representation or a voice in the proceedings. They're rarely appointed in juvenile delinquency cases. And in this particular case, his lawyers requested that the judge appoint a guardian ad litem to the case because the Commonwealth, the state, had listed his father, Edward Sr., as a witness for the prosecution because he was the first person.
Can't hear you, brother.
For anybody that doesn't know, that just jumped in, this is a woman named Margot Nash. She wrote the book, The Politics of Murder, the Eddie O'Brien case, the altar boy murder case. I understand the audio is a little got an echo to it, but it's very compelling, interesting what she says. She actually worked with Eddie on the book. So we're going to jump around a little bit to this in the true crime garage of what happened. But there's some things that she said here, and she's going to break down what happened and, you know, how Eddie feels and how this was all politics as usual. They needed somebody, blame it on the kid, blame it on the girl. Does that sound familiar?
Wow.
To find Janet dead. And so, because his father was potentially a witness against him, they felt that Eddie's should be protected, because his parent, he was 15 at the time. He should have the protection of a guardian ad litem who could make sure that he was being adequately represented. And that's really how I got involved. It's a very unusual appointment in a case like this.
And so let's talk about the characters involved here. First of
Okay.
all, okay, so Janet Downing was murdered, and Eddie
She
O'Brien
was.
Jr. was the one that was convicted. So let's talk about Janet Downing first. Who was she? How old was she? And describe her situation. Like, does she have a family?
Yes, yes. Janet Downing and her family lived directly across the street from Eddie. It's actually 25 yards from his porch to her house. And she had 4 children, 3 of whom were living at home. She was divorced from her husband, Paul Downing Sr. She was 42 years old. She was a lovely woman. She had been in the neighborhood for 17 years. She'd known Eddie since he was a toddler. Eddie was best friends with one of her sons. She had a daughter named Erin, who I believe was at the time was about 19. She may have been a little older. And she had twin sons named Ryan and Paul Jr. And Eddie was best friends with Ryan. Eddie lived across the street with his family, and his older sister, Jeannie, was best friends with Paul Downing, Paul Jr. So the families were these kids were back and forth between each other's houses since the time they were, toddlers.
Yeah.
And very well known. The families knew each other very well. They got along very well. There was no animosity between anyone in either of the families. And Janet had one other child who was living outside the home at that point, and her oldest, Carrie Ann, who was living with a baby that she had outside the home.
Oh, now, was Janet working? Was she at home with a?
Yes, Janet worked at a healthcare center. I believe it was Tufts Healthcare in Medford. She was a clerical worker there. She'd been there for a number of years, and she worked full time.
Okay, and so now this was happening in the summer of 1995. Talking.
Yep.
That's correct.
And that's in Somerville, which is kind of a suburb of Boston, I believe.
Yes, it's right outside of Boston. It's literally on the west border of Boston, and
My grandmother used to call Somerville the country. They used to walk from the north end of Somerville to school back in the day, from the north end of Somerville, and they said, "Let's walk," and they called it the country because it was nothing like the inner city. Wild, right?
This is what now. Before you jump back on with this is wild, dude. To find out, how well the kids knew each other, and that was close, man. I mean, and I'm thinking back, man, at those times. I mean, all the kids were playing on the street till the street lights come on. They're playing
It's
football,
July of '95, bro. Fucking
football,
blazing out.
kickball. People got pools that everybody's fucking going swimming. I mean, it's just back then, man. It was a lot different than it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, if the front door was left open at your best friend's house, you could knock and.
Yeah, you used to hang at your friend's house, go in your friend's house, go upstairs. You know what I mean? Your friend's mother, he's upstairs, he's downstairs. Used to smoke cigarettes with your friend's mother. You shitting me? Let me get a cigarette.
Oh, definitely.
We get a cigarette.
Yeah.
Oh, you got one rolled up. Dad's rolling a joint, little small joint. The pinners, kid. The pinners. Get it? Yeah, the pinner, dude. This is a
Yeah, the
fucking
pinner.
pinner, dude. Smoking pinners of the Mexican weed back then.
Yeah,
Wild times, bro, huh?
good times.
Good times, for sure. The politics of murder. Why is it the politics of murder? Someone asked in the chat. Well, because we had a new DA just just elected in Middlesex County, and they got real hard on juvenile law, juvenile offenders, and they were trying to smoke juvenile offenders and the adults. Right around that time in 1995, they changed the law from statutory good time to truth and sentence. Good old Governor Weld came in, and this was another extension of juvenile law. Basically, if you're a juvenile and you keep getting recommitted, which recommitted was basically a ticket to do more crime. A kid would go to DYS, get committed till he was 18, do a program 30 to 60 days, maybe 9 months, whatever it might be, get out, run amok on the streets, right? And guess what would happen? He would only get recommitted. So he would do another program, and then he would get out again. Then he would run amok again. And guess what would happen? He would get recommitted. So knowing that you would only get recommitted and it would never do anything, they were like, fuck this. Because the kids were basically saying, hey, we can get away with stuff. So they created a thing called juvenile offenders, and they just wanted to try certain kids as an adult. Now, obviously, this guy right here, slashing somebody up allegedly 100 times, you would want him to get bound over and go to prison for the rest of their life. I get all that. But this was an extension to just hammering down on juvenile crime, because back in 1995, it was a mess. Their system was a mess. The people they hired was messy. It was a messy, messy time in the juvenile system. Trust and believe that.
You can walk to Boston from Somerville. It's very close, and it's a neighborhood. It adjoins also abuts Cambridge, but Cambridge is considered the sort of student university, intelligentsia, upper crust suburb. Somerville is ethnic in that they're ethnic Italians and a lot of Irish, and it's a very neighborhoody, not student neighborhoods, but very family oriented neighbors. In Eddie's particular block, there were families that had 3 or 4 generations of children had grown up in the houses where they lived, and Eddie being one of them. Eddie's father grew up in that house that he was in, and now Eddie was growing up in it, and his grandfather lived in it with them. Janet, on the other hand, had moved there, had moved to her house after she got married to Paul Sr. She was originally from Cambridge, but everyone in the neighborhood loved Janet. I mean, she was definitely a part of the neighborhood.
And when we talk about Eddie O'Brien now, he was 15 years old.
He had just finished his freshman year in high school. Yeah.
Okay. And so he, what was his situation? So he was going to school. He was working as well, or?
Yes, he worked part-time at a little convenience store called Midnight Variety, where he stocked the coolers and he put together the Sunday papers. The day that he worked the most was Sunday, where he worked from 7 a.m. to 12. And the store was situated directly across the street from his local parish, where he was an altar boy until he was 13. So he'd stack the papers for the people coming out of Mass, and they'd get the local papers. And that was his job. He'd had it for about 2 years. He'd been doing it since he was just 14.
Now he was a big boy. I look at this. He's 6'4", 250 pounds.
Not when it started.
No, okay.
When he was arrested. When he was arrested, he was probably 6 feet tall, maybe a little bit more. He was, yes, he was big. His sister is also tall. His father is very tall. It runs in the family. But between the time he was arrested and the time he was incarcerated at age 15 and 6 feet tall, he grew to 6'7" in 2 years. He was 6'7" and 150 more pounds. So he was very big boy when he came to trial,
Wow.
which really, really was.
Did she say 6'7"?
Yeah, he was a big boy. I mean, when you said 240, I'm thinking he was a little more than that.
So he was very big boy when he came to trial. But between the time he was arrested and the time he was incarcerated at age 15 and 6 feet tall, he grew to 6'7" in 2 years. He was 6'7" and 150 more pounds. So he was very big boy when he came to trial,
God, yeah.
Wow.
which really, really was one of the things
Intimidating.
that was his lawyer, I believe, should have made more of a point of showing who he was. If you there's a picture of him on the front of the cover. When I first met Eddie, he was a really, really young adolescent. He wasn't shaving yet. He still had his, adolescent baby fat. His cheeks were always red from embarrassment. He was really very immature, socially immature is what I mean. He really was not a kid who was well versed in street, in the life of a street kid. He was not that kind of kid at all. He was a sports fanatic.
Baby.
He was a big boy, man. When you showed me that arraignment video,
Basketball, he
a
played
couple days
football.
ago,
He was not actually. He didn't make it to the varsity team in football because he wasn't aggressive enough. But he was a big kid, so they wanted him. They wanted him on the football team.
Of course.
Yeah, just to stand there,
Yeah, well, yeah.
but,
It's intimidating.
but yeah, I mean, he was bigger than most kids his age, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But he collected baseball cards. He was just an ordinary kid who loved to play street hockey and did all those things that regular 15-year-old kids do.
And let's talk about his past. So did he have like any history of criminal behavior, violence, or mental illness, or anything?
He had absolutely no history of criminal behavior or violence or delinquency. He had never been in trouble. His grandfather was the retired chief of police of Somerville. He had grown up around police, and they were the good guys, and the bad guys were the bad guys. He was very proud of his grandfather, and he had never been in any trouble whatsoever in school or in the neighborhood. Nothing.
And so and we talk about Somerville now. Was this a good area, bad area? Was there good crime?
Very, very good area. His neighborhood was Prospect Hill, and that's considered a very, very, as I said, nice family-oriented neighborhood where the parents all worked. They were working class, not laborers, but working class, some white-collar people. Like Janet's husband worked at the post office. Eddie's father was the manager of the mailroom at Harvard University. His mother is a food server at Tufts University. They're hardworking people, lots of Irish people, and they were just all raising their kids together in this neighborhood. That was, where nobody locked a door and people went from house to house and they lived on their front porches and didn't have air conditioning, but a very, very nice neighborhood.
So when Janet Downing got murdered, this must have been pretty big in the community. This must have been a shock.
Right? It was huge. It was huge. It was all over the place. Still unsolved 22 years later, 21 years later. And so that had just happened to the community, and that shook the community unbelievably. And there was a lot of sentiment about why this case wasn't solved. And so that it was really these two horrific and unexpected murders of two people who there was no rhyme or reason to why they were chosen as victims, if they were chosen or if they were just victims of opportunity.
Right.
So
I was going to say, so what was the killing of Janet Downing like? Describe the scenario there.
This is
the
crazy.
murder was a horrific, bloody assault. The coroner who had been working in the medical examiner's office for 49 years said it was the worst homicide he'd ever autopsied. She was stabbed 98 times. She was beaten. She was disrobed, and her clothes were stabbed and then put back on her body. Her throat was slashed 32 times, but that's part of the 98 wounds. It was a horrific, just overkill. Over 3 rooms in the house, up and down the stairs. It was indescribable, really. and it was a very disturbing murder. Nothing was taken. No forced entry into the house.
So we're thinking that it's probably someone she knew, or she answered the door, somehow.
Right. Yeah. I mean, either she answered the door, or it was somebody she knew, or it was somebody who had access to the house without, without having to break in.
And
Those. I'm not an expert on these on various types of homicide, but I heard oftentimes during the proceedings that these, first of all, stabbings are really up close and personal killings, because you're confronting and touching the victim. You're not shooting them from afar, And this one was particularly horrific because she had those multiple stab wounds to her
Right.
chest, but none on her breasts. But her bra was removed. It was stabbed 36 times and
What?
then put back on her.
Wow. Wow. That's fucked up, man.
Ladies, lock your doors. Don't look out the window. Lock your doors. Don't look out the window. Shh. Be quiet. Don't open the door. You're now with J.F.K. Kevy Kev 781 on the Cash App. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do thank you very much for your attention, and now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the takeoff. The captain has made tower communications available, so if you'd like to monitor the air traffic system, you'll find that on Channel 9 and your headsets in the seat pocket in front of you. We'll give you a little more information about our service plan for our flight this evening as soon as we're in the air. Thank you, and again, welcome aboard.
I don't like my mind right now, stacking up I dreamed I was missing, you were so scared, but no one would listen, 'cause no one else cared. After my dreaming, I woke with this fear. What am I leaving when I'm done here? So if you're asking me, I want you to know.
You got that boy, you heard? Be easy with that boy, cause you got issues. Be easy with that boy. Make sure you be easy with that boy, you heard?
Don't be afraid of taking
go by the name of J.F.K.
And I go by Kevy Kev.
Yes.
I dreamed I was missing. You were so scared.
Man. Welcome to Massachusetts, people. That was 30 years ago what happened to Janet Down, and we're going to get more into it. Just wanted to take a break, and since we have some people in the room, we want people to know justice for Francis Gigalotti, a.k.a. Jigga. 7 cops on his neck. I can't breathe. You know, it took another police officer named Caitlin Tully. Would you believe it? Her last name was Tully. Of all the names in the world, I mean, think about that for a minute. The last name is Tully. You talk about attention. I mean, and she took her life allegedly, or she had a heart attack. We don't know what happened. R.I.P. Caitlin Tully. She was one of the officers that gave CPR to Francis Gigalotti. Now, was it that the word came down that people were getting arrested, people going to jail? She was on paid leave. We don't know. But by that happening to her, we went through 3 different chief of police at the time in Haverhill, Mass. It was a straight shit show. The corruption in Haverhill, Essex County is wild. And right down the street from Haverhill in Andover is a woman named Kelsey Fitzsimmons who got her 5-month-old baby taken away because some asshole decided to go to probate court, write a motion, and say that he was afraid that his wife was going to do some bad things to his 5-month-old infant. She got shot in her chest, Mass General for 2 months, got held for an attempted murder charge, held without bail, came home. Would you believe it? Came home, was home for about 48 hours, couldn't blow into a device because she got shot in her chest, fragments in her body. Her lower extremities was probably extended, and she didn't feel very well and could not blow. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. And they said, well, if you can't blow into the device, then we're taking your bill away and you're getting locked back up. Did she have a record? No. Police officer? Yes. Record? No. Correctional officer in the past? Yes. How old? 28. Ever have a criminal record? No. Danger to society? Yes. Question is, why? Down the road, in the same Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the umbrella that we all sit under, that sign that you see, in Norfolk County, there's a cat named Mizzy Cash, a.k.a. Miles King, who shot Marquis Simmons allegedly coming off his scooter in Milton. He was held in jail for 3 years in the Dedham House of Correction, and he wasn't in medical, by the way. He was in general population. And he's home now on a $10,000 cash bail, and his lawyer is Scapiccio, who was the lawyer for Sean Ellis in Boston, who allegedly killed Mulligan, the police officer, for a 9mm gun back in 1993 in front of Walgreens in Rosendale. Tentacles, tentacles, tentacles. And tonight, you guys are watching the case of Eddie O'Brien that happened in 1995 when there was a political situation going on with juvenile law. And people are saying he's innocent. He's saying he's innocent. He went up for parole last year. He didn't admit to the crime. He said he would stay in jail before he would admit to the crime. 30 years later, did he do it? We don't know. Tentacles, tentacles, tentacles. So what we heard today, just now, before we took that intermission for Francis Gigalotti, and I understand, sorry, playing that video, but that's what happened. Came back that it was a homicide. Was it an unlawful homicide? Was it a justified homicide? I don't know. Jimmy T said that the police should be held accountable for murder because he said, I can't breathe, and they didn't get off him, and that is murder. And we also heard the woman, Margot Nash, say that a bra was taken off of Janet Downing in 1995, stabbed 36 times, then put back on her. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the mic to my co-host, Kevy Kev 781 on the Cash App. What do you got to say about all the shit I just said? It's a handful.
Yeah. I mean, the connections with all these cases, you know, with the Massachusetts State Police, and just, finding out that, that there's improper training throughout, leading back to the Haverhill Police Department, Massachusetts State Police. That's, this case with Proctor has opened up a can of worms in regards to, being a lead investigator or just even investigating, crazy. This situation with this, Eddie O'Brien. Wow. I mean, that's what I'm going to say to you. I mean, I for him to, I keep thinking of the white T-shirt and them saying that he wore it all day and that there wasn't any blood on it. The crime being so dramatic sounds almost like obsessive, passionate, something. I don't know what you would fucking call that. I mean, it just sounds fucking horrific. I mean, it sounds like that, you think he was in that house for that amount of time? I mean, that sounds like, this doesn't sound like this kid ran up the front stairs to go in the house and say, hey, is Billy home? Blah, blah, blah. And fucking find out that what the fuck? Some guy in a fucking black mask just said, listen, kid, you better beat it. I can't hear you.
I got you. I'm sorry. A bra, bro, stabbed 36 times?
Yeah, I mean, that to me
Then
is
put back on.
excessive.
Would a 15-year-old kid do that now? Let's segue to Danvers, Massachusetts, back to Essex County, where it all went down with Kelsey and Francis Gigalotti. It's dark over there in Essex County. There was a cat named Chisholm, 14-year-old, stuck his teacher in a barrel, killed her, raped her at 14, then even went to DYS and beat the shit out of a staff over there. He's been down since 2013. So when you think about him, he was 14. He did that. Who's to say that this guy didn't do it, right? Because the age,
I
you
hear
think about
man.
it.
But I mean, just listening to, the interview with this woman here that wrote the book there. I mean, with her saying that he was an altar boy and he had a job. I mean, it sounded like he came from a pretty strict fucking house.
Hold on a minute. That is a very, very great point. What's it? His airness, 93? Does a 15-year-old boy know how to put on a fucking bra? God damn, that's a great point. That is a good point right there. Let's go!
That's what it sounds like.
And I'm trying to think that to take all that time to do that. Now, was she sexually assaulted as well?
No, she was not.
Okay, so it wasn't a passion thing.
No.
No.
It was a rage thing.
Yeah. So this
It was a rage. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very personal. Now, how was she discovered? Who found her?
Her son Ryan found her. He came. That's Eddie's best friend. Ryan and some of his friends had gone swimming at somebody's pool. It was a really, really hot, muggy night. It was like really, it had been brutally hot all day long. And the boys went swimming. And he came home at about 10 o'clock and he said that the front door was locked. He had to open it with a key. That's what his memory was. And he walked in. There's a small foyer and then another door. He opened the second door and he saw his mother covered in blood on the floor. And he ran immediately out of the house to Eddie O'Brien's house to get Mr. O'Brien, and ran for help. And Mr. O'Brien ran across the street as he was calling 911, saying, "We've got a problem here. You need to get to 71 Boston Street in Somerville." And he summoned help. And he went in. He found Janet. She was obviously dead. So that's how she was found.
Wow. So now, how did we connect this, or how did the police connect this to Eddie O'Brien? So now, of all the people in the neighborhood, and you have this 42-year-old that gets brutally killed and very aggressively. This wasn't just like a shooting, like you said, and 98 times, taking her clothes and stabbing it, putting it back on. So this was, much more involved of a killing. And
absolutely.
So now, how did they tie it to the 15-year-old neighbor?
The way it was tied to the 15-year-old neighbor was that at the time the police were arriving at the Downing house to answer that emergency call, Eddie appeared in the variety store that he worked in. He had gone out to get something to eat. He appeared there having just been mugged by two youths in Union Square, several blocks away. He was walking down the street. Two youths approached him. One pulled a knife, asked for his money. He gave him $17, and he looked up at the guy. And the guy said something like, "Now you looked at me, I'm going to have to kill you," and lunged at him with the knife. Eddie deflected the knife and ran to Midnight Variety, and he told the owner, his friend, Walter Golden, who was, the owner of the store, he said, "I've just been mugged." And the owner is the one who called the police. And so minutes after they received the call about Janet, they received the call about Eddie. And
that first half was embarrassing.
Wow. Wow, that's it. I mean, that's crazy.
They simply decided that that they had to be connected somehow.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking, well, why? Like,
because he's a neighbor, because he's across the street, because two alleged stabbings. I can't tell you why, but I do know that basically once they sent police down to the store, the EMTs came, they looked at his hand, which had been cut, and they said that they didn't think he needed any medical attention, and the police drove him home. And when he got home, his grandfather said, "I think you should go to the hospital and get a test."
The police drove him home. That's crazy, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And I want to fucking reflect on something. I mean, if this dude,
it's wild.
If this dude, I mean, just seeing, what he looked like in that courtroom, the baby face and all that shit. Like, I mean, you're telling me this dude fucking went over there, fucking wiling out on this woman.
I mean, that's an understatement, huh?
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about an era of time where, so nobody was out on their porch. I mean, that's how I remember those times in the early 90s, mid 90s. I mean, you had a lot of neighborhoods like that where they were right. The windows were open. July. You would have heard that. You would have heard a commotion. You would have heard something. You're telling me the windows were all shut in that house? You know what I mean?
Well, everybody's saying that he was on the porch too when the time it happened. And then, like, the timeline don't add up, they're saying too.
I mean, I just seen in the chat.
Say what? Go ahead.
I just seen something in the chat, and I mean, I don't want to get ahead of it, but I mean, I thought I just seen someone write that his father testified against him.
Yeah. Yep. He became a witness for the Commonwealth, which was weird.
A shot and have somebody else look at that. And in fact, his uncle drove him up to the hospital, and they did give him some stitches in his hand. And while he was at the hospital, the Somerville police came again to the hospital and asked if they could ask him some questions. And that's when it was clear that they just simply didn't believe that he had been mugged, and they believed that he had something, that the two incidents, that his getting cut and Janet being stabbed, were connected. It was a complete hunch that they did that, and they asked him to come down to the police station, which he did, and they took his clothes and his sneakers, and asked him to sign a Miranda waiver in furtherance of the investigation into his mugging, which is, just crazy, because victims of violent crimes aren't asked to turn over their clothes and sign Miranda waivers. So he was clearly a suspect right away, and with no evidence, none.
Well, what did they think the motive was? Like, why is it?
Oh, they had no idea. There was no motive, and actually, Eddie was about 40 hours after Janet was killed, he actually was arrested. And at that point, the district attorney, the elected district attorney for the county, which is the biggest county in Massachusetts, said that he had no idea what the motive could have been, and it would take him a long time to figure out to develop the motive. And in fact, he had no motive, and the district attorney made attempts at various motives over the course of the next 2 years, but never convincingly came up with one, if you ask me.
Well, then okay, so now, but he got convicted, and he got
right. That's where the politics come in.
Okay, so he
politics.
But
you ready?
Did he have 12-member jury, and what did they tell the jury then? What was it that they sold to the jury why he would have went over there and taken all of this time, to do all that?
Wait a minute. First, when you say what did who sell to the jury? Is it the defense counsel?
Yeah, no, the prosecution. As in, so when they arrested him and took him to trial, how did they?
Oh, they said that he had a growing obsession with Janet Downing. That was not natural.
Okay.
And they attempted to prove that through 3 statements that he had made in the last year. One was that he said to his other 15-year-old friends, "Don't eat at their house, she's a bad cook."
Damn.
Another one was he asked his friend Ryan if his mother was a lesbian because he had heard a neighbor and his father talking about whether or not she was a lesbian. And the third thing was that Ryan testified that Eddie had said that he saw his mother undressing in a window one time.
Wow.
And Eddie is clear he never ever told Ryan that, and he never saw that. And in fact, it was impossible to see from his house into Janet Downing's bedroom windows. Those were the 3 things that Riley capitalized on, D.A. Riley capitalized on, and said that this showed a growing obsession about Janet Downing, and that was his motivation. That
but she wasn't raped or sexually assaulted.
No.
So
no.
If he's trying to say that he's developing an obsession, that he's infatuated with her somehow, or you think that he wouldn't stab her 98 times, take her clothes off, cut them up, put them back on, and not attack her? Like that doesn't really fit for me. But
it didn't fit. None of it fit for me, and I'll tell you the part that really didn't fit.
Here we go.
This was from the get-go. Was that the window of opportunity? Eddie was at home on his porch with his family until 9:15 that night. And he, in fact, stop and see if Ryan's home yet. And he walked over to the Downing home across the street. His father's sitting on the porch to see him. And he walks into the Downing home because the front door was wide open. He walked into the house and he saw Janet on the floor full of blood. And he went over to her, he knelt down, he called her name, he shook her. He couldn't figure out how she had gotten so bloody, if she had just fainted or fallen down the stairs. And he turned her over. He saw all the stab marks on her. And he stood up to leave, and he was confronted by a man with a knife, a big knife, and a stocking over his head, who said, "Get the fuck out of here! I'm going to kill your whole family." And Eddie ran out of the house. He ran down the cellar stairs. As this was, let me back up. As this man appears and tells Eddie to get out of the house, there's another knock on the door, and that happens to be three additional friends of Ryan and Eddie's. They got no answer, and they heard nothing, so they went to the corner, and they claimed, and they did see Eddie running down the street, having exited the back of the house. And so the window of opportunity that Eddie had to commit this vicious crime was between 5 and 7 minutes of unaccounted time, walking across the street to Janet's house, and at 9:15, the three boys knocked on the door at 9:20. Wow. It's impossible to commit that crime in 5 minutes. Yeah. That's number one. Number two, he had on a white Nike over-the-rim T-shirt on all day long. Had it on in the morning all day. It was sweaty. He had it on that night, and that was the shirt that the police took from him. There was no blood on his clothes, his sneakers, no blood on him. So you can't kill somebody like that in 5 minutes and have no blood on you.
Right.
Those are all facts.
Wow.
Right. And so who do you think, or do we have a suspect?
I think that there was somebody that I don't know who did it, but I can tell you that I believe that we can find out who did it, because there is DNA under Janet's fingernails and DNA on the alleged murder weapon, from which Eddie has been excluded, male DNA, that is unidentified. Oh. And the DA never bothered to try to identify it.
Wow.
And so now you called your book "The Politics of Murder," and
right.
I'm thinking that
here we go.
You have a kind of a
here comes the politics.
There's an explanation for calling it that. That you think that there's something that's happened that is wrong, and maybe explain kind of what's happening now and kind of what was the basis of calling it that.
Sure. I mean political in the very real sense of the word. In 1995, when this was going on, there was a whole movement about juvenile law and moving from rehabilitation to retribution, and the whole super predator movement. It was really aimed at inner city youth and gangs.
Take a listen.
Juvenile law. Being political in the very real sense of the word. In 1995, when this was going on, there was a whole movement about juvenile law and moving from rehabilitation to retribution, and the whole super predator movement. It was really aimed at inner city youth and gangs, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but basically there was a whole movement where the people who were crying wolf, the sociologists, et cetera, were saying that our cities were going to be taken over by violent youth who had no morals, who were just going to kill indiscriminately. Yep. There were two politicians in Massachusetts who were subscribers to this theory and this idea that juveniles should be tried as adults in order to stop these juvenile murders. And one of them was the governor, William Weld, and the other was Tom Riley, the district attorney who personally prosecuted Eddie's case. And I believe that there was a political decision made that they had been trying to get these laws through. They had gotten 2 amendments.
Does this sound familiar?
Wow.
Politics as usual in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Sound familiar? I need to see red in the chat. Let's go!
was the perfect case to take to trial. I mean, it's such a horrific murder. It was court TV, gavel to gavel, 2 years of nonstop publicity. That if they could get Eddie.
Imagine being able to build an app.
Does it sound familiar? Court TV, gavel to gavel.
You know, it's just, yeah. I mean, it's
Test
that
where
this is
juveniles
check it out.
From 14 on would
Take
be
a
sent to
listen.
jail for the rest of their lives without any murder. It was court TV, gavel to gavel, 2 years of nonstop publicity. That if they could get Eddie O'Brien convicted, they could get this legislation passed where juveniles from 14 on would be sent to jail for the rest of their lives without any possibility of parole.
Really?
Who were found guilty. And
Okay.
so that was politically what was going on at the time. And I believe that in this particular case, that there were conscious decisions not to pursue any other credible or possible motives or possible suspects.
Does this sound familiar?
big time.
30 years later, we're still doing this shit in the Commonwealth. Oh, you got a YouTube channel. Congratulations. It's been going on for 30 fucking years. Did you know that? The long game is no. My people from the inner city of Massachusetts know, all the towns and surrounding towns, and the people who don't know, now they know. Don't get ahead of yourself. It's been going on out here. I always said Karen Reed case is the front row seat of corruption, but best believe we could go all the way back to go to the future, and we could tie it all together. We can make it make sense, and I'm trying my best to do that. Excuse me, it's live streaming. If I edited the video, I'm sure I can make it make more sense. But we're live, and I'm showing my transparency to show you guys that I'm learning on the fly, learning on the job, showing you. I hope we're making sense tonight. This is crazy. What the duck coming through. For the love of all things holy, will you get the premium? Right? I'll get it. And the funny thing is I did get the premium, but I got it for YouTube TV. I thought it was for both. I got it for YouTube TV because I went on the app and it went for YouTube TV, not my YouTube. So I got to figure that out. Sorry, guys. I'll get it done. But go ahead, Kevy Kev. Talk to the people.
I just think it's a crazy case. I mean, I'm thinking of this, his upbringing and shit. I mean, that's like I said before, it sounded like he came from a pretty strict family. Not in the sense of just maybe not. I mean, when he's attending church, he's sticking to the the family roots of what his father probably did with his grandfather. It's generational. And I'm surprised nobody. See, I mean, I don't know too much about the case and how far it went with the trial and stuff, and how long the trial was. It probably sounds like it was pretty quick. They knew what they were going after, but like nobody spoke on his behalf. I mean, you think about it. I mean, they said his busiest work day of the week was Sunday. He was selling the fucking papers in front of the church. He was a popular guy in that community. Young kid, everybody knew him by his first name. Hey, thanks, Eddie, throwing him 50 cents. You know how many people bought the paper back then? I mean, to think that he was that far off, can't hear.
Keep in mind, the dudes that jumped him, his father put out a $5,000 reward, and the guy at the store, at the corner store, put another $10,000 on top of it to catch the killers. I mean, to catch the people who jumped them. Yeah, at that time. So therefore, that shows you, like you said, like he's a well-known kid and people like him.
Yeah.
Well, if they thought he did it, they wouldn't have tried to look for something that could exonerate him. And this was in between the 48-hour window. So that's something to think about too.
Now, I had said something earlier. I was reading the chat about how his father,
thank you, Miss 808,
testified against him, but But I see in the chat now somebody else had thrown up there that his father, stood beside him the whole trial and actually, shouted out, we know you're innocent. I mean, I see, I don't know too much about it, so
Well, here he is now, ladies and gentlemen. This is him right now in the present in front of the parole board. Let's check him out.
Convicted of killing his best friend's mother nearly 3 decades ago, is now asking to be released on parole. WBZ chief investigator reporter Cheryl Fiandaca has been following this case for years and was at the hearing today. Cheryl.
Well, Courtney, for more than 4 hours, the parole board questioned O'Brien about the crime and his steadfast claim that he is innocent. After that, his supporters and the victim's family got a chance to speak. Edward Eddie O'Brien headed back to prison after pleading his case at a parole board hearing on Tuesday.
I will not be a threat to any community. I plan on being a positive influence wherever I end up in life.
O'Brien was just 15 years old when prosecutors say he murdered Janet Downing in the summer of 1995.
Damn.
The single mom was stabbed and slashed 97 times. An altar boy, O'Brien, the grandson of the city's former police chief, lived across the street from the Downings. He became a suspect after police doubted his story that he had been mugged the same night as the murder. O'Brien has always maintained
Look at the
his
size of
innocence,
this kid.
but in 1997, a jury found him guilty, and he was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Years later, the Supreme Court ruled that sentence for juveniles was unconstitutional, making O'Brien eligible for release. Today was the first time the now 44-year-old has ever appeared before the parole board. The panel grilled him on the evidence, the witnesses, and his continued claim to be innocent.
My time in prison has not turned me into a negative, bitter, or a violent person. I've made a commitment to myself to be the best possible person I can be, no matter my surroundings.
In a packed hearing room with O'Brien supporters and members of the Downing family, Janet's daughter, Erin, pleaded with the board to keep O'Brien behind bars.
He has never shown remorse. He has never taken responsibility for brutally taking the life of a good and innocent woman.
O'Brien is also appealing his conviction in court. The 7-member panel board took the case under advisement. A decision is likely months away.
Well, he got denied, and he got pushed back another 5 years.
I mean, just listening to what we've, just listened to about, him entering the house and seeing somebody there, and then the knock on the door.
Keep in mind, though, he never said this. He only said this 2 years later at the trial. This happened in 95. At trial in 97, he passed a note and said this happened. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That's what makes this whole shit shady. Like, why would he hold that in for 2 years?
He must have knew the person.
Let's listen to some of my guys over here at True Crime Garage. You guys could go subscribe. And what's the Margot Nash thing on that I just pulled up? What site that on? That's on the site. It's on House of Mystery Radio on NBC. House of Mystery Radio. So it was a radio show, late night. Sounded real radio-ish, right? So so check them out. I always want to give props where credit is due. Mystery Radio NBC. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I don't know what else. And then we're gonna get into my guys at True Crime Garage, and they have a better take. They kind of break it down a little bit better about the other guy who actually is a suspect, basically the Higgins of the Eddie O'Brien case.
I'm going to throw in a little criticism before we get going too far along, because what has been the biggest part of this case that has been criticized is that the Somerville Police Department, that they locked on to Eddie O'Brien too early in their investigation as their number one suspect. And not only did he become a suspect too quickly for some people's liking, but they locked in on him and failed to look elsewhere. I'm going to give my own criticism. I agree with the part of locking on to Edward O'Brien. What I don't agree with is the criticism that he became a suspect too quickly. They had evidence that suggests he should be a suspect in this case.
He had stab wounds or offensive wounds, or however you want to look at those. Cuts by a knife. We have a woman murdered by a knife. We have an individual that has cuts by a knife that they call 911, and he is, I think you said, half a mile away from the scene of the crime.
Yeah, you have his fingerprint, in wet blood at the crime scene. You have what cannot be ruled out as the victim's blood on his shin. So there is evidence linking him to the crime scene. Then we had the issue of 2 weeks after his arrest, he says, yes, I was at the crime scene.
Right.
And here's what really happened. But before we get too far along, Captain, what I want to mention is...
Was it 2 weeks or 2 years?
Is the fact that they locked in on him, and then they failed to recognize the possibility of, well, do we have anybody else that could have done this?
I might be wrong.
I think they were overtaken and blinded by what little evidence they had at the time. Where I want to go with this is there's two other people that could be considered a suspect. And I say two other people because really we know,
good night,
and I think you will agree with me, that regardless of this timestamp where some sources say she was killed between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m.,
right?
That cannot be. It just cannot be, okay? Maybe she was killed between 8 and 9:15, but that's as long as you can take this timeline out. Why? Because either one of two stories is correct. Either Eddie O'Brien killed her and then fled the scene. Remember, he's said to have been seen by eyewitnesses leaving the area at 9:20 p.m. Or he didn't kill her, and his story is correct that he showed up, went into the house, and she was already dead when he got there around 9:15. So whatever happened to Janet Downing, whoever murdered her either Eddie did it when he got to the house or she was already dead when he got there. That leaves us with two other potential suspects in my mind. Yes, there could have been a whole heck of a lot of people that could have done this, but I say two for this reason. One, we have Paul Downing, who by his own admission was in the home from approximately 8:15 to 8:30-ish. We know Janet Downing was alive at 8 o'clock when the group of boys left her house. But even with all of this evidence against Eddie, is it possible that we have a different suspect, maybe even a better suspect?
Right.
I'm going to bring up a guy named Artie Ortiz.
Artie
Ortiz is Janet Downing's brother-in-law.
Here we
He is
go.
Married to her sister. He was kicked out of the house.
Oh.
He and his wife lived with the Downings for over a year. They were kicked out of the home in March of 1995.
Wow.
Janet Downing would tell friends that she kicked them out of her home because she believed that Artie Ortiz was selling drugs out of her house.
Right.
Okay, we need to talk about a woman named Gina Mahoney. Gina Mahoney is arguably one of Janet Downing's best friends leading up to her murder. Janet Downing and Gina Mahoney spoke several times at length the day of her murder. Gina Mahoney says that on several occasions she saw Artie Ortiz's cab. He was a cab driver. She saw his cab parked outside of the house, the Downing house, after he was kicked out of the home, when nobody was home, when the kids weren't home, when Janet was home.
Well, and didn't also neighbors say that they saw his vehicle there from time to time after the time period of him being kicked out?
Yes. The other thing that's interesting is the reason why this is very important to Gina Mahoney is because she's had conversations with Janet Downing where Janet has told her Artie Ortiz still has keys to my home
and refuses to give them back.
and refuses to give them back. And that's where Gina Mahoney's saying, well, not only does he have those keys, I've seen his vehicle parked near your home when I know nobody is home. Now, she's not saying, I know he was going in your house or I know he was doing anything weird. She's just saying, when you were not home and when the kids were not home, I've seen on several occasions his cab parked by your house. That same day, Janet Downing tells Gina Mahoney that she is afraid of Artie Ortiz. And that he has been harassing her since she kicked him out of the house.
God damn, Kevy Kev.
Harassing her.
Someone's at the door. Don't open up the door, ladies. It's probably a coyote or a raccoon. It's getting real spooky on the J.F.K. channel. Who killed Janet Downing? Let's go. Girl said 4 more. Who's in? We gotta make sure the guys stay warm. It's cold out here. Yes. I need Cliff Bars and Muscle Milks. I need to get bigger. Come on. Go. Who killed Janet? Was it the altar boy? Or no? Thank you so much, Free KF 2025.
Man, that's a crazy take on it too.
Artie Ortiz, man, he had the 1.8. He had the Corolla, like we said. He was slanging 8 balls out the back. He had the mirror with all the mirrors and shit.
Yep.
5-speed with the super in the back, the super sign, the SPUA in the back, kid.
Yep.
he was out there slanging them 8 balls, son. Out there in the Ville. Keep warm. Thank you, Becky. Appreciate it. Disclaimer, I'm just joking. It's a joke. But Artie, she said she was afraid of Artie. He drove a cab. The plot gets even more thicker. Trust and believe that. Trust and believe that.
Yeah, good point with Lisa Davies, you know. I mean, Adi, he definitely had a motive where he was thrown out of the house. It's a twisted case, you know. You know, and you think if Eddie got shook and seen somebody in there, and this person threatened to kill his whole family. I mean, he was fucking ghost. He ran out the back door, down the stairs, and out the backyard.
Yep. Yep. You're right about that.
But you would think after all this time being locked up, I mean, you got to weigh the measures, like, you know, in his head, like I'm sitting here for what somebody else did. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, is he, you know, he seems like a real smart guy, like the way he talks. I seen him in some other videos, but at the time was, you know, where was his mental health at 15? I mean, that's a lot of shit to take on. I mean, there's no blood. The cops drove him home. There was no blood on him. Excuse me. There was not any blood on him. I'm saying double negatives over here. I'm sorry. Karen Reed, if she's watching, is gonna hate me. God damn. But yeah, there was no blood on him whatsoever. So I mean, you know,
That's a crazy spin. I mean, you would think that with the brutality of what happened, that, you know,
I mean, if he did that, if he stabbed her,
he would have been
90,
covered
he
in
would have
blood.
been covered in blood. I mean, the guy probably eats a spaghetti bowl and gets it all over him. But the thing is, he had the no. I mean, it was such a short period of time that all this happened. Where did he get rid of the shirt? Where did he get rid of the blood? Like, how did he get that much blood off him? That's a lot of blood, man. And then in the Burger King, there was no blood in the Burger King. If he say he got rid of the blood there, where did he have time to get rid of this blood? I mean, that's thick blood, man. Sticky. You know, that's guts, man. I hate to say it. Disclaimer: R.I.P. Janet Downing. I don't want to say the wrong things here. You know, we have fun on the show. I don't want people to think I'm making a mockery out of this poor woman's death. I mean, this is insane. I'm just
Well, I
trying to
mean,
understand.
you know, when you think of, I mean, you're right. I mean, and I mean, you know, we don't like to talk about, you know, the brutality of it, but man, I'll tell you, I mean, it just, when you hear, you know, she was cutting her neck 30 times. I mean, this was, you know, this was, there was some hatred there.
I mean, it was
That
fast. He leaves there. He leaves there. He goes to the square, walks inside the place where he worked at, and he got no blood on him, bro.
And you got to think about it, man. I mean, not for nothing, but a big dude like that, fucking hot summer night, he's in there, fucking, he's sweating.
And they're saying they took the bra off and put it back on. So the death it was like a 5-minute thing, right? So he did that all in 5 minutes, stabbed the bra, put it back on, got out of there, did all like that. The timeline, it's back to like the Cameron Reed parallel to that. It doesn't really add up. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just dope. But then again, why didn't he say anything? Why didn't he go there and say, hey, I was just in my friend's house. She's full of blood. But it's back to what you said. The woman, I hate to say this, had the brother-in-law selling drugs. This was the crack era. This is pure speculation. I'm just saying. The crack era was a different time. I'll just leave it at that. If you know, picking up what I'm putting down, Kev.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
a
So
lot of,
if he
I
knows,
mean,
if he's on a street, if he's on a block at 15 and he realizes, like you said, he knows this guy and he knows that he's no good. It's kind of like the code of the streets, right? Like, what am I going to say? This guy's going to come for me. Like, I got to protect my little sister. He might have already been afraid of this dude prior to this. This dude might be known for that shit. And now he's in jail. It's a catch-22. Does he rat him out? Because if he rats him out and people find out in jail he's a rat, he's going to have more problems in there. Like I said, this is pure speculation. I'm just trying to understand. You feel what I'm saying? Because if he turns around and says, you know what? I know it was Artie that did it. Now everybody in there is like, yo, you're a fucking rat. Why are you saying it was this dude? Now he could say it wasn't me. You guys figure it out. Now that's one thing. It wasn't me. Here's all the evidence. Go figure it out. You're the police. But if he turns around and name drops a name while you're in prison, Shirley Max, when the doors swing, you swing.
All done.
You know?
Yep.
And then he was in DYS early on, 15 years old. You start, you know what I mean? Like you're in this, you know, right off the bat, he probably was gravitated to because he was such a big dude.
Yeah,
People
but he
probably get
also,
fucked with.
you know,
I'm just think about this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, well, those are the times where, at a young age, you're looking to click up. You know what I'm saying? You're looking to find where you fit in and shit. And you know, I mean, that's when you have that gift to gab and shit. You're sitting there, you're at a round table trying to play cards and shit. I mean, you might not be able to play cards, but you can talk. I mean, surprise, nothing, you know, I mean, he maintained it. I mean, it sounds to me like, you know, he was scared, you know.
But then again, we don't know. Is he a stone cold killer? At his airlines thinks he's a stone cold killer. And you know what? You know, you're right. He could be. I don't know. That's why I was saying this. And we're going to reach out to Eddie O'Brien. And we got more to talk about. I think we should just keep going over it to really think about it. But his family don't think that he's innocent at all. His friend thinks he did it. And his friend knows his character. So, you know, it's back to like the thing with the family. If the family's against you, it's real hard to get anybody to look into you. That's the parallel to the Karen Reed case. I hate to say it that way because the family's totally against Karen. So it makes the investigation hard to get off the ground. Now, if his family turned around and said, Janet Downer's family said, you know what? I looked over what he was saying, and you know what? Maybe he didn't do it. That makes the police say, really? Okay. Maybe we need to do this for the family. But if the family's saying, nah, we know you got the right guy, he's a piece of shit, then they're not going to look into it. Politics as usual.
Well, I mean, you know, like the daughter there, I mean, she has every right to speak on how she feels. Mm-hmm. And without him having any remorse, I mean, she's going to express that. She's going to fucking bring that right up and tell them, like, listen, you know, this is the picture he painted. And, you know, he did it. He's shown no remorse, no accountability, nothing. He hasn't accepted any of it.
Rose D, peace. Becky.
The only thing he said was, you know, that no matter what situation he's in, he you know, he wants.
Oh, what the hell happened? My man just dipped. What the hell happened to him? He hit the wrong button. The fuck? God damn, Kevy Kev. Kevy Kev, man, just exited the building. What happened, Kevy Kev? Holy shit. Oh no, Kevy Kev. I didn't do it. Damn, Kevy. Well, you know what they say, right? They say love bites.
When you make love, do you look in your mirror? Who do you think of? Does he look like me? Do you tell lies and say that it's forever? Do you think twice or just touch and see? Touch you too much.
How do I look out there? Am I looking all right out there? Is it me? Is my internet messing up? How am I looking, people? You look good. Well, something's up with Kev's stuff. I'm trying to get him. Kev, you gotta log back in. I gotta kick you for a second. Come back, Kev. Handsome as always. Thank you, What the Talk. I appreciate that. Otherwise, look great. Looking hot. God damn, it's like that. I look like a man in a headphone, right? Kevy, what's going on with your... Oh, there he is. Hold on.
Yeah, no, I keep getting bumped out. Just goes to saying to retry.
You're good now? You're here,
Yeah,
buddy.
I don't see you though, but I'm here.
It's your internet.
Yeah. It says I'm good.
I'm looking good, right, guys? You guys, I see Kevy. I mean, is it me?
I don't see you.
Well, you don't. It's got to be you on your side. I'm golden, JFK. That's what people saying.
All right. I'm golden on my side. Just keep it running.
You can see me?
No, I can't see you, but I can see the chat. I see myself.
So you know,
I'll jump out and jump back in.
oh, well, you can't see me. That's fine. They can see you. You're fine. I can see you. I mean, if you can't see me, it's all good.
They say
I don't
they
know why.
see us both.
I can see you. God damn.
God damn.
Yeah, slide back in. See if
All right.
something happens. John Cena, haha. For sure. Yeah, man. I like that song too, man. That's a good song. You know, let me pull another song up, man. Let me since we're playing songs. I mean, I like the love ballads, man. The love ballads were good, right? They were good. This is a good one too, for sure. You guys remember this one? Ladies, they do hit, for sure. Miss 808. Definitely hitting, for sure. I love a good ballad. For sure, Becky. Skid Row, please. Don't want to miss. Yeah, I played that last time. They struck me immediately right when I played it. They took the flight right down. Kevy Kev entered the building. Once again, I'm not getting him for whatever reason. He can't see me. Oh, there he is. Let me see.
What up, people? There you
can
are.
you see-
Hey, what up? Hey, what's happening?
Hey, there he is.
God damn.
Christina, what's up? Better internet service for Kevy. Yeah, you know, it happens. You know what I mean? The internet gets wacky on this.
It's pouring out right now where I'm at, so maybe it's raining over here.
Damn, I'm trying to upload a song, man. That shit's taking forever. It's pouring there too. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, this Eddie case is getting interesting, man.
All right, now that's suspicious. That's hearsay. Whatever.
Yeah, but we also don't have anybody in her life saying that she was fearful of this gentle giant that lived across the street.
Yeah, a little more background on that. On Eddie O'Brien, his parents lived on Boston Street his entire life. Janet Downing knew Eddie O'Brien his entire life. She had lived there since the late 70s.
Wow.
And you're right. Nobody ever said that Janet Downing told them that she was afraid of this 15-year-old boy. He was over at the house all the time. It was his best friend's house. So more importantly than this hearsay bit is this story. Gina Mahoney says that on the night of Janet Downing's murder, she was out on her front porch She's watching what is going on over at her friend's house, Janet Downing's. This is the police lights, the ambulance sirens. This is all a big commotion. She's out on her front porch now, wondering what happened at her friend's house, wondering if her friend is okay, and she's watching it from her front porch. She says that at 10 p.m., she sees Artie Ortiz walking. His hair is wet and freshly combed.
Listen to this.
Artie then engages in conversation with Gina. He says that he is there because his dispatcher told him that his sister-in-law, Janet Downing, has been murdered. Gina finds this immediately very off-putting, finds it to be very strange, considering that the EMTs and the police are still at the Downing house. Janet's still in the house.
Right.
Nobody really knows what's going on at this point, but he's saying that his dispatcher knows what's going on and told him that Janet Downing had been murdered.
A little fishy, right?
It's a little fishy. I don't know.
A little fishy.
You know, I don't know if the dispatcher would be, listening to police scanner,
Mute up your mic.
or if that could explain it, but it gets a little more interesting than that. Because at the same time that she's talking with Artie Ortiz, she says that she spots his green taxi cab. His cab is parked on Hamlet.
Let's run that back.
Fishy. I don't know.
A little fishy.
I don't know. Janet's still in the house.
Right.
Nobody really.
Let's play that back.
He says that he is there, hidden his porch, watching what is going on over. Friends afraid of this 15-year-old boy. He was over at the house all the time. It was his best friend's house. So more importantly than this hearsay bit is this story.
Here we
Gina
go.
Mahoney says that on the night of Janet Downing's murder, she was out on her front porch. She's watching what is going on over at her friend's house, Janet Downing's. This is the police lights, the ambulance sirens. This is all a big commotion. She's out on her front porch now, wondering what happened at her friend's house.
Here we go.
Wondering if her friend is okay, and she's watching it from her front porch.
Listen.
She says that at 10 p.m., she sees Artie Ortiz walking. His hair is wet and freshly combed.
Okay.
Artie then engages in conversation with Gina. He says that he is there because his dispatcher told him that his sister-in-law, Janet Downing, has been murdered. Gina finds this immediately very off-putting, finds it to be very strange, considering that the EMTs and the police are still at the Downing house. Janet's still in the house.
Right.
Nobody really knows what's going on at this point, but he's saying that his dispatcher knows what's going on and told him that Janet Downing had been murdered.
A little fishy, right?
That's
It's a little
crazy.
fishy. I don't know.
A little fishy.
I don't know if the dispatcher
Gets crazier.
Listening to
Keep
police
listening.
scanner or if that could explain it, but it gets a little more interesting than
Here we
that.
go. Listen to this.
Because at the same time that she's talking with Artie Ortiz, she says that she spots his green taxi cab. His cab is parked on Hamlet Street. This is the street that runs up the side of along the side of the Downing house. She says that his cab is parked on Hamlet Street and it's facing the wrong way. His vehicle, according to Gina, is parked on the same side of Hamlet Street as the Downing home, but his cab is facing Highland Avenue. It should be facing the other direction, which is Boston Street.
Okay.
Gina says that Ortiz's cab is blocked in. This is 10 o'clock. They're having their conversation. She sees his cab. It's blocked in by a fire truck, a police vehicle, and an ambulance.
What?
Well, what would that tell us?
What would it tell us?
Either
His car was
Ortiz's
there
vehicle dropped out of the sky and fell to that spot, or he was parked there before emergency personnel arrived responding to the scene.
Exactly.
Then, here is something very bizarre.
Here's something more. Don't open your doors! Who killed Janet Downing? Don't open your doors! God damn, son. This shit is crazy. Yo. Let's go.
Where you at, Adi?
We got some questions for you. Artie, we got some questions for you, buddy. Why was your hair wet? And it gets even more crazier. Why was your hair wet? Like you just got out the shower. And why was your cab parked on the other side of the street, like as if you had a getaway? And then why was it blocked in?
Yeah,
if you just pulled up. If you just pulled up and you just got the news by your dispatcher, and I said this earlier on the live, they don't put that just over the scanner. If they don't say someone got murdered, they would say go to side door, right? Back in the day, side door, and then they would speak through the side door through another frequency. They wouldn't just put it over the scanner. Hey, Janet Downing got murdered over here on this street. Like it's not happening. So how did you know when it was actually going on in real time? And why was your hair wet? I go by the name of J.F.K.
And I go by Kevy Kev.
And I hope you guys are entertained. I hope we're bringing some new energy to this whole true crime community that had locked in. The tentacles. It's all corruption at the end of the day. If you're in the scope and they want you to be the one, you are the one. I mean, did they question this guy? I don't know. So be clear, I don't know. There could be a whole other story to debunk this, but it doesn't seem that way.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about like the political corruption with it, you know, when they implemented those laws with you know coming down on you know the juvenile era, you know, a lot of these towns, they're you know, trying to clean shit up with all these new laws and shit. You know what I mean? Like back then, like they'd just try shit, you know, fuck a lot of people up. You know, you think about Haverhill, you know, when I went out there and spoke with Francis's family, you know, there was a young kid on there. He spoke about how, you know, they don't even want kids sitting on their stoops. They don't want kids, you know, gathering at Dunkin' Donuts. They don't want groups of kids, you know, loitering. You wonder how it was for these kids, you know, at that time when, you know, you got a lot of patrol going on, and I mean, he said he got jumped. You know, those were times that, you know, a lot of kids and younger generation, that juvenile generation back then, you know, you hung in groups. Just like Eddie did. You know? You had that clique of friends that, you know, you guys have, you know, buddies were inseparable, you know? Going here, going there, hitting the store. Riding your pedal bikes.
I'm here, brother. I'm here. I'm listening.
You know, it's just crazy, man. You know, and you wonder if he feared Artie. You know, I mean, if he was slinging like he was, and he was fast moving and coming and going from the house, and different crowds of people, different people, you know, showing up. You know, a kid like Eddie might think that he's scary. You know what I'm saying? And if he did walk in on the dude and seen him in there, or heard his voice, or knew the tone of voice that, you know, I mean, the guy lived there and he lived across the street and sat on that porch. I'm sure Artie walked by him at least once or twice. That's crazy. You know, the other question I was asking myself is, you know, all this time's passed and he's been, you know, incarcerated. You know, does he have any family left? What kind of support does he have now, going up against these paroles and stuff? And, you know, even for the future, you know. I mean, that's a lot of time, but that, you know, that he spent. You know, if his father and family and friends were supported of, you know, supporting him back then, you know, who's left to support him now? I mean, based on the time that he spent in prison, you know, you're going to get the rapport from these facilities, you know, on what type of behavior he maintained, and, you know, being incarcerated, and, you know, a lot of maybe the good that he has done, you know, throughout his time in the system with, you know, he could have, you know, participated in helping people get their GEDs. I mean, he could have been, you know, you just don't know, you know. I mean, when you think of these parole board hearings, I mean, you know, I'm sure that the judge, or that panel of let's say judges, you know, they want to know what you've done, what kind of courses you've completed.
Indeed, brother.
You know, any kind of infractions. I mean, it sounds like he's had a pretty good
institutional record.
Exactly.
Yep.
But my question is that all he has right now? I mean, that's all really he could have maintained in the past 30 years.
It's wild, bro, to think. Let's listen to some more of what happened to
Artie Ortiz, during his conversation with Gina, he discovers he can't find his keys in any of his pockets.
This is crazy.
He tells Gina he can't find his keys. He leaves Gina's front yard and runs over to his cab, where she says she can see him crawling around inside the vehicle and very obviously looking for his keys. After several minutes, he gets out of the cab and steps foot onto the Downing property, which, of course, is a crime scene by now. So, of course, he is stopped by an officer. He asked the officer if he could be allowed to go into the backyard and search for his keys.
What?
Why would his keys be there?
Oh, well, how astute of you to contemplate that. Good job, Caddy.
What?
Fishy.
No
The
way.
officer told
Hold
Ortiz
on.
how to search for his key onto the Downing property, which of course is a crime scene by now. So of course he is stopped by an officer. He asked the officer if he could be allowed to go into the backyard and search for his keys.
Why would his keys be there?
Oh, well, oh, how astute of
Why
you to
would his keys be there?
contemplate that.
No shit.
Good job, Caddy.
Fishy.
This is crazy.
The officer told Ortiz that this would not be possible. This is a crime scene. So then Ortiz goes back to Gina's front yard. And again, he's talking with her. Then he asked her if she thought that the cops would be there much longer. Do you think these cops are going to be here much longer?
Hey, you think they're gonna you think they're gonna like take her dead
What?
body and move it real quick? Because I need to find my keys.
She tells him, yes, I do think that they will be here for a while. And then he goes on again and says that he needed to get into the backyard so he could find his keys because he needed to return the cab back to his work.
Yo.
Eventually, I don't know if he grew tired or what, but that same night, he had the cab towed. He never found he didn't get the keys that night.
Say what?
He had the cab towed back to his work.
He what?
Very interesting story.
Well,
What?
look,
Hold on.
Towed keys because he needed to return the cab back to his work. Eventually, I don't know if he grew tired or what, but that same night, he had the cab towed. He never found he didn't get the keys that night. He had the cab towed back to his work. Very interesting story.
Man, what a spin, man. This shit just spiraling, huh?
Down from day one. Welcome to Death Row.
Like we always do about this time.
Where you at, Adi?
Don't answer the door.
Where you at, Adi?
Well, and look, if somebody would have told the police this is some evidence they could have looked for inside the house, which obviously they didn't look for.
And then we have Eddie O'Brien's story that he says he was too afraid to tell anybody because he was threatened by a man with dark hair. Artie Ortiz has dark hair.
Ooh.
All right. Let's go to the trial, Captain.
Let's go.
So leading up to this trial, what we have basically is for 2 years, they fight over the idea of should this boy, who was 15 at the time of the murder, he's 15 and 5 months old at the time of the murder, should he be tried as a juvenile or as an adult? And the whole purpose in reading that summary in our trailer of DeLulio's article in what he called the coming of the juvenile super predator was because at the time in our country, several states were battling with the idea because there was a rise in violent crime and murders committed by juveniles.
Here we go. Politics as usual.
The idea at the time was, do we try these juveniles ages 14 to 17 as adults? Not only do we try them as adults, but can we sentence them to life in prison without the possibility of parole? Because
you frozen, Kevy Kev?
No, I'm just listening.
Nah, you're back. All right. You were frozen a second ago.
My bad.
you have his article that points out that, hey, a big batch of these dudes are just evil. You cannot rehabilitate them. and they are super predators. They are monsters.
Uh,
I don't want to fully condemn his article because what we have John DeLulio saying in that article that I left out of the trailer, he was saying that our parents and our communities need to be raising these children and raising these boys better so that they grow up and they have feelings and empathy and they care about each other and they care about others and they care about their neighborhoods and their communities.
Or they understand consequences.
Right. He was proposing to build more churches, not prisons. That sounds great to me. Hell, build more McDonald's and Burger Kings too. He is just saying that punishment isn't the key. Raising these kids properly to be good citizens and good adults will help mold them into not being killers and not being criminals. What some states decided the solution was try them as adults, lock them up with a life sentence without the possibility of parole, basically lock them up and throw away the key.
And then let everybody know this is what happens to you if you commit murder.
Right. So for 2 years, they fought over the idea, should Eddie O'Brien be tried as a juvenile or as an adult? And he was arrested, as we said, in late July of 1995. He was indicted on August 2nd of that same year. What we have in 1996, we have Judge Paul Heffernan orders O'Brien, who's now 16, to be tried as a juvenile. If convicted, he would face a maximum of a 20-year sentence. In July of that same year, the governor of Massachusetts signs into law a bill that would require juveniles over age of 14 accused of first or second degree murder to be tried as adults. So then the Supreme Judicial Court decides that the judge that said O'Brien should be charged as a juvenile, well, we're going to toss that out.
Right.
We're going to toss that out. And on May 9th of 1997, so we're now at over a year and a half after this kid was first locked up, it was decided that O'Brien, who is 17 at this time, would be ordered to face murder charges in the adult court system.
Now, whatever happened to the right to a speedy trial?
What did we say in that one show? You have the right to a speedy trial. You just may not get one.
Right.
And because they're fighting over law.
Now, keep in mind, that was the reason why. Keep in mind, people, that's the reason why Miles King got out, right? One of the main reasons because of the speedy trial situation. So he was in jail for 2 years before he got to trial.
Laws.
It seems like a lot of our laws lately, or a lot of these cases where you go, we know that the person has the right to, they never gave him the opportunity to.
Well, and Eddie O'Brien, whether he killed Janet Downing or not, fell into a very bad. He had very bad luck on many levels, but on this level, where at the time where some of these states were considering combating juvenile violence and murders committed by juveniles by locking them up and throwing away the key, as we just said, the people that were opposed to that were pointing out that, hey, that kind of setup is aimed at locking up African-American black youth children and throwing away the key. And so some people were pointing out that and it does make sense because at the time it was everybody that wanted to attack the rise in juvenile gang violence in the country, in the inner cities.
Right.
And so Eddie O'Brien then became, well, we got this white kid who lives near Boston, and he stabbed this woman across.
And it's not a black thing, it's a white thing, because look, we'll prosecute this piece of shit right here for killing this white woman the same way we'll prosecute a black man. So it was a political ploy to be like, look, we'll prosecute the white guy just like we'll prosecute the black guy. But keep in mind, 2 years before that, Sean Ellis. Keep in mind the gangs of Boston, right? Franklin Hill Giants, the Humboldt Raiders, and so on and so on. So the inner streets had the gangs, and that's where the violence in the inner city was happening between these gangs and situations like that. So they were just trying to prove a point that they would prosecute anybody that was violent, and just to get the law passed. So he was the face of it. Let's pass the law for the white guy to prove that it's not a racially motivated situation, so they can get the law in and then go after the gangs and smoke the gangs. And some of these kids, not saying that murder is right, but I'm just saying some of these kids growing up in these inner cities, their mindset is that I'd rather be caught with a gun than without one. You know what I'm saying, Kevy Kev?
Definitely. Definitely, man. And like, you'd think of this kid. I mean, they got him fucking hemmed up, and he's an altar boy, sells the Sunday paper.
Mm-hmm.
They
just wanted to get that law in, and they did.
To street 98 times. So what better way to go? No, we this is not racially biased. This is against the board, across the board, which it was. But now you can point to this exact incident, this exact situation, and go, this is what we're going after.
Mm-hmm.
This sexual sadist who grew up across the street from these nice people. So what we have here, Captain, is once we are at trial, you have the prosecution who's going to have to present the theory to the jury and walk the jury hand in hand along the way down the path and point to evidence that convinces them of their theory, that says, you know what, we believe this happened because we have this piece of evidence to support that portion of our theory. And we're going to walk you all the way from step A all the way to step Z, and then you're going to give us a guilty conviction afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
They say that Eddie O'Brien was obsessed with Janet Downing, that he became obsessed with her, that he was watching her, and he was asking unusual questions about Janet Downing. And that was proof that he was sexually obsessed with this woman. One of the questions that he asked was, he asked Janet's son, his best friend, Ryan, why does your mother sit in the driveway? She would pull up and sit in her car for a very long time, often after arriving home. I believe she was a smoker. I've seen some people say that she was a smoker, so that would make some sense. What the prosecution did to support this, he's obsessed with her, is they had 4 different people testify that Eddie O'Brien asked, why does she sit in the driveway for a long period of time in her car? The problem with that is it paints a picture that he was asking multiple people this question. The truth of it is he asked this question to Ryan in front of a group of people.
Oh.
So you have multiple people testifying over and over again to the same thing, but really it's only from one incident. He didn't ask multiple people multiple times. It happened once. And further,
it's not that weird of a question.
Well, there were other people that testified that they had the same discussion with other people. Other neighbors wondered why she sat in the driveway for a long period of time.
Sometimes back in the day, I'd be listening to NPR, and I'd get home, and NPR would have another 10, 15 minutes left. I'll just sit here and finish the show.
Howard Stern has made me a victim of sitting in a parking spot or in my driveway for years now. I gotta stay on until the commercial break. So
hold up a sign that says no flicky flick.
She could have watched, she could have been listening to the radio.
Going on. This is interesting too.
Did he ask any other questions?
Yes, he did ask if Ryan. He asked Ryan if Janet was a lesbian, and that seems like a very bizarre question to ask.
I think it sounds like an immature question.
Right.
He's 15.
Yeah,
and we did have a person who testified that.
Well, keep in mind, right? He was working at that midnight store, and that store has a lot of porn magazines that we heard, and people were saying that he was like into these magazines at the store he worked at. So if he was 15 years old experimenting with these magazines, Penthouse, Playboy, things like that, and it was girl to girl stuff, he could have asked the stupid immature question. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
said she had a discussion with Big Ed, with Eddie's father.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about Janet Downing. Mind you, these people, they practically live on their front porches in the summertime. They're all friends. They all know each other.
Mm-hmm.
They can all see each other's business. And these two people were saying, Big Ed and this woman were commenting on how Janet had not had a male companion since the divorce between her and her husband.
Yeah.
One of the adults posed the question to the other, maybe she's a lesbian.
Yeah, or maybe it just takes her some time. Maybe she's raising these 4 kids by herself and she just doesn't have the time to go try to find some,
but where this plays into, look, the prosecution's going to point out that this is a big deal that Eddie O'Brien asked this question. It's not a big deal because of the testimony of this woman who says Eddie O'Brien was in the room and overheard this conversation between 2 adults. So him being a kid, a child, probably thought, well, maybe there's some merit to it. And he asked his friend, who happens to be the son of this woman, is your mother a lesbian? It's one of those things that on the surface, it seems bizarre. When you read that in the paper, it seems bizarre that Eddie O'Brien would ask this. But then when you get the full story,
his dad and other people saying some stuff and maybe some rumors around town. And he said, I'm going to ask my friend. I asked my friend.
So that day, the day that Janet Downing was murdered, the prosecution points out one thing, that Eddie is at the home and he learns that the kitchen door to the home is broken. The way that this works is that if you were to turn the doorknob on either side, either on the outside or the inside, it does not operate the door. His friend explains to Eddie that because of, the purpose of security, we added a deadbolt to this door. That same day, Eddie, remember, he goes into the den and sees Janet Downing sleeping on the couch. We then have the boys agree that they're going to go swimming, and the prosecution would point out that Eddie didn't want to go swimming because once he learned of the broken door to the house and saw Janet Downing sleeping on the couch, that his obsession kicked in.
Oh, yeah.
And that he figured out, you know what? I'm not going to go swimming with these guys. I'm going to come back in here, access the house through the broken door, and I can get to her while she's sleeping on the couch.
Wow.
That's their beats. They got some good beats. I like their style.
All right. Cheers, crispy cabin.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into some of the facts or some of what the prosecution says is evidence against Eddie O'Brien in this case. Remember, the newspaper said that they have 3 separate eyewitnesses who saw Eddie O'Brien fleeing from the Downey house, fleeing the scene. And technically, that's not the case. Nobody saw him running from the house. What they see is 2 of the witnesses, anyway, see him running from the backyard area or the bushes that are near the Downing home.
Mm-hmm.
Where the problem comes in for the prosecution at trial is that one of the persons that says that they saw Eddie O'Brien says under oath, I don't know for certain that it was Eddie O'Brien, that it was a tall person that was about the same size as Eddie, but I'm not 100% convinced that it was Eddie because when I saw this person, I called out to him by name, to which he didn't turn around and he didn't respond.
Right.
The other witness, their story changed 3 times before it was Eddie O'Brien that they saw running from that area.
Well, that's a strong witness.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, I don't know who it was. I couldn't see who it was. And then the final story was he turned and looked at me and kind of smiled, and it was Eddie O'Brien. You pointed out something interesting earlier about Eddie's clothes, and they're remarkably clean for having just stabbed someone 98 times. The third witness offers up a little bit of reasoning as to why Eddie O'Brien might have appeared to be clean, or at least his clothes appeared to be clean after having attacked this woman. This witness says that in their yard, something startled them, so they looked out the window and they saw Eddie O'Brien jump a fence in their yard, fleeing from the area. Eddie O'Brien, at this time, according to this witness, was wearing a black shirt, and when he went up and over the fence, he could see a white shirt underneath the black shirt. Okay, well, there's your solution. Eddie O'Brien was wearing a black shirt. He murdered this woman, fled the area, took off the black shirt, had the white shirt underneath, dumped the black shirt somewhere.
Right, and none of the blood soaked through.
None of it soaked through, but here's some problems with this eyewitness's testimony. First of all, they don't outwardly say 100% it was Eddie O'Brien. It was saying somebody that said, Eddie lived in my neighborhood his whole life. I know who Eddie is. The person I saw was about the same height and had the same body type as Eddie O'Brien. What I'm pointing out here is there's a chance that this eyewitness saw somebody jump their fence.
Right.
It just might not have been Eddie O'Brien. Now, you've seen the size and the stature of this boy. It would be difficult to confuse him with somebody else, right? Can we agree on that?
Yeah, but the other problem is I think he stated that Eddie was 250 pounds. There's no way by looking at Eddie being 6'4", was he 250 pounds? He was probably closer to 300 pounds. That's a lot of man meat to try to get over a fence, depending on how big the fence is.
Well, this looks good for the prosecution because it explains away the lack of blood on Eddie's shirt. What looks really bad for the prosecution is the eyewitness's testimony that says he saw this person who he believes to be Eddie O'Brien jumping the fence. This was at 10:15 p.m. We know that is impossible, as Eddie O'Brien was at the midnight convenience store being interviewed by police and examined by EMT workers at that time.
Wow.
So this eyewitness testimony, you just have to toss it completely out. Yeah. If you saw somebody, man, it was not Eddie O'Brien, because I have police and EMTs that will say he was down at Union Square in this convenience store.
Yeah, but all these changing stories of the eyewitnesses, it would have to make a jury or a judge start thinking that the prosecution is finding people that are just willing to say anything.
Yeah, but what I like about this testimony by two of the eyewitnesses, the ones that it could be possibly Eddie O'Brien that they saw, is this actually, in my mind, works out in Eddie's favor. It doesn't work out in the prosecution's favor, because Eddie O'Brien has already said, yes, I was at the scene that night.
Right.
I went into the home, and then I fled out the back door at the cellar door. I crashed into the bushes, and then I ran down Hamlet Street. Where it looks good for Eddie O'Brien is these witnesses say that it was at 9:20 p.m. Eddie O'Brien and three witnesses say that he was at his home at 9:15 and went across the street immediately to the Downing home and then saw what was going on. His life was threatened, and then he left the area. Why that looks good for him? You mean to tell me that in the course of simply 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, Eddie O'Brien managed to somehow get into the home, leave no sign of a forced entry, brutally attack Janet Downing, drag her from the den where she's sleeping, or believed to have been sleeping, into the living room, and during all of this stabbing her 98 times?
That's fucking crazy.
It seems a little difficult for that to be done. And then on top of that, if he's not covered in blood, did he wash up before leaving the Downing house? Again, we're adding time to this. It's just getting more improbable by the testimony.
Was she able to defend herself at all? Like being able to scratch up this individual? Or
Well, that's where we get into some of the blood evidence. There is certainly blood evidence that points to Eddie O'Brien having been at the scene, which makes him look very guilty. We got the fingerprint in the wet blood on the beam going down the stairs to the cellar that matches his fingerprints. We have a drop of blood that is later found on his shin that is type AB, and a very small percentage of people have type AB blood. So it's not 100% that it's Janet Downing's, but it looks very likely that it is.
Right. If that's her blood, and he's also stating, hey, I was there at the scene.
He says he touched her. He rolled her over. It's possible he got some of her blood on him and he didn't kill her, if we believe his story.
And some of the blood.
So someone just said that Eddie O'Brien is guilty as fuck. Then in prison, he became an absolute menace. He's a sick, violent fuck. What did he do in prison? I didn't hear on the parole. I mean,
I lost you.
It's all right. We're back. You got me now?
Yeah. I was actually. I heard a little bit of what you were saying, and then it cut off on me. But
no, I'm saying someone just said Eddie O'Brien is guilty as fuck. Then in prison, he became an absolute menace. He's a sick, violent fuck. Well, that didn't come up at the parole hearing. I didn't hear that.
Yeah. I just looked up that Adi Ortiz, and he was involved. That was the last name.
Last name of what?
It's Adi Ortiz.
Yeah, that's him.
That was the brother-in-law. Yeah, I was trying to see if I could find a picture of him.
I mean, he's got to be in his 60s now or something, right? That was 30 years ago. If she was 40, he was probably around that age. So he could be like 70 years old, this guy.
Yeah.
He would have got off when he went to the store and cleaned himself off.
There's the problem, though, Captain. They found other blood evidence at the scene. It's labeled as identifiable, meaning that the sample's good enough to find a match to it. It's identifiable, but it has not been matched to anybody. It's not been tested against anybody other than Eddie O'Brien.
Right.
It's not like they rounded up 10, 12, 15 suspects and tested all their blood and said, we've cleared you.
Well, that goes back to people's complaints about this case of law enforcement locking into him too early or too quickly.
I think the issue is not so much too early. It's the wording that I struggle with, because you're absolutely right. It is locking in on him. Not only is he our number one suspect, but nobody else could have possibly have done this. We're only going to look for evidence to build our case against Eddie O'Brien. And I'll tell you what, man, I don't really fault the police. I don't fault the Somerville police for that. I fault the prosecution, because the police, their job is to collect evidence, to collect facts, make an arrest, hand it off to the prosecutor, and then the prosecutor decides, do we take this to court? Do we convict this man? And then the prosecutor didn't at no point look back and say, well, wait a second, we have a third type of blood found at the scene that we've been told it's not Eddie O'Brien's.
Right. Can we test this against any other suspects?
Right. We're not going to round up any other people in this whole big mess and test it against their blood. So that's where it gets to be very difficult. And then what gets to be extremely difficult for Eddie for today, because what we have here, Captain, is he will be found guilty of murdering Janet Downing. The trial lasted roughly about 2 weeks. It started on September 17th, and on September 30th, the defense rest. Now, the defense only presented for 2 days during this trial. And after 9 hours of deliberation, Eddie O'Brien was found guilty on first-degree murder. So he's sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This is the mandatory sentence under state law after that was signed into effect in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big problems for Eddie O'Brien is this story about Artie Ortiz and being parked near the home on the night in question. It never comes up during trial. His
Why?
defense attorney didn't bring it up.
Why?
Whiffing.
Yeah.
Because his defense attorney didn't want to. The problem with presenting Eddie's side of the story is it places him at the crime scene. That's what his defense attorney thought.
Third party culprit shit.
Where I say the opposite. You need to explain why some physical evidence puts him at the crime scene.
Right.
There's only reasonable doubt if we hear that side of the story. There's only reasonable doubt if Eddie does place himself at the crime scene, and then we have alternative suspects. Because what the jury gets told, the story they get told, is we have proof that he was there. And when he was first asked if he was there, he said no. Well, that makes him look awfully guilty.
Yeah, or it makes him look like an immature, scared 15-year-old.
Well, and that's why I went through that whole bit of the life sentence without the possibility of parole. The kid was 15 years and 5 months old. Now, yes, this is a horrific crime. If you're ever going to get life without the possibility of parole,
this is it.
To me, it's justified in a case like this. The problem is if you're going to take a 15-year-old and lock them up and throw away the key, you better be damn sure you got the right 15-year-old.
Yeah.
You better be sure you got the right guy. And I think there's questions about if he even did this.
I don't think his size helps.
Well, here's the other thing, too. I think asking a room of people to believe that we have this physical evidence, we have this kid who later says, yeah, I was there, but this is what happened. Oh, and by the way, not only did I find a victim who was just murdered, fled her home, and then within minutes, I was attacked and stabbed myself. Asking a room of people to believe that, what are the chances?
Right.
What are the chances?
Where are you, Artie?
Don't open the door! I go by the name of J.F.K.
And I go by Kevy Kev.
We got the link up right now. We're taking one by one. If you guys want to come up and talk to J.F.K. and Kevy Kev about this case or whatever's on your mind, we're here for you. Link is posted. It's pinned up to the top.
Let's go, people.
Jump on. We're taking one at a time. If we don't get to you, we're sorry. We're running on some limited time right now. We're going to take some phone calls. We're going to do it nice, calm, cool, and collective. One at a time. We're not trying to rush you off. But we just want to hear what you got to say. And then we're going to go on to the next person. The link is up. It's pinned up to the top. If you want to come up here. Jump on the stage with Kevy Kev 781 on the Cash App. J.F.K. Show Off, of course. Show off, show off. And James Jackson, of course, in the chat, holding us down tonight. James Jackson, the one and only James Jackson, the co-host, the one and only co-defendant, is here tonight. I wish he was up on the stage, but that's okay. We'll take it how we can get it. That's my guy. That's my brother. And he's here listening. And he says that he heard that Eddie O'Brien was running the blocks out there, huh? He's a big dude. I mean, at this point, all the time that he did, he's definitely got some seniority. For sure, for sure. Right now, if you were going to think about or everything you just heard,
It's fucking crazy, dude.
Would you think
You know,
that he did it?
I just heard
he did it or he didn't do it?
Man, I mean, there's you know, there's some things that don't add up that says that he didn't do it, and there's some things that don't add up that says that he did do it. It just don't make sense. I mean, I'm thinking about the keys in the backyard with Artie. Fucking Artie running around the fucking backyard. What the fuck's he doing in the backyard? Did he chase him down the fucking stairs? Did he stab him? Did he fucking nick him with a knife? What the fuck happened? Then he says he got jumped. They put up a fucking reward. Nobody comes forth. Is he covering for somebody else? Was it something that was supposed to happen with another friend and did something go bad? Like, I don't know, man. Some shit just don't add up. She didn't fight back. There's no fucking defensive wounds. How was Artie looking? Was he nicked up? What was he wearing on a hot summer night?
Eddie needs Alan Jackson. Well, this was Middlesex County. So the question is, during that time, was Janetti in the DA's office in 1995? A couple years later, he tried the Curley case, so he must have been in the DA's office. Would a 15 have the strength to stab someone that many times? I'm torn on this. I mean, yeah. Definitely.
I mean, the crazy part about it is
well, he got in the DA's office. Hold on a second. So he got in the DA's office, Norman Corey, in '88. Is that what you're saying? My bad, Norman. I'm trying to read the chat. Sorry.
No, do your thing, brother.
But I'm saying, Yannetti, is that what you're saying, Norman? He got in the DA's office in '88. Where's Norman at? If he did, then he was there. So let's just ask Yannetti. Yeah, he did in '88. So he was there. So when all this was going down, our boy Yannetti was in the DA's office in Cambridge. So he knows about this case. 89.99.
Yeah.
That's fucking real interesting right there. Question is this dude Artie alive, man? He could be dead, man. Then what? But they don't say it though, right? And then his lawyer never brought up a third party suspect, a third party. That's crazy.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, if he was to say that, he would place himself there. What they have is that what I'm taking from it is that he said he went in the front door through the porch, come into a little breezeway, like a double doored area, like a mud room, and then opened up the other door and seen her there.
We got the StreamYard link pegged up to the top, pinned up to the top. You guys want to come up and talk to J.F.K. and Kevin Kev? We're taking one at a time. If you guys want to talk to us, let us know. If not, we're going to take the link down and keep it moving. Good job taking one at a time. Group panel too sloppy. Yeah, well, got to do it. Thank you. Artie's still alive. Third party was not allowed in court. Jay Traff, you know a lot about this, huh?
Yeah.
Now keep in mind there was another girl that was murdered 2 weeks prior, and her death is still unsolved.
Now that you just brought up a thing that
her name was I just want to say her name. Her name was Deanna Cremens, who 30 years later we still haven't got the answers. She was found dead like a couple of weeks prior. She was 17 years old.
That was one thing that I thought of, as we were kind of listening and going through this tonight, is that, were there other crimes, like in that area, like, let's say like in that community or in that area, like, were there other crimes, even not close in time, but even over time?
Read that.
Similar.
Read that.
Oh, really?
What's up, man?
What's up, bro?
What's happening?
What up, man?
Hey, Kev, what's up? So I know you said you guys want to talk about something, but regarding TB, if you guys want to talk about that. If not, I can talk about this Eddie thing too, because that's crazy. But I'm just, every time I watch that dude now, I unsubbed him and I actually joined your channel just to support you guys. And so I believe in what you guys do. I like what you guys do. And, it's just annoying that he's like talking about J.F.K. had 1,700 and something, 17,400 subs. Now he's got 1,600. Like, don't worry about the subs. You guys keep doing what you're doing. You guys stick to your plan, stick to the way you've been handling things. And, the subs are what the subs are. If you guys are into, true crime and fighting for justice, fighting for Jigga, fighting for Karen Reed, then don't worry about what anybody else says. I just want to let you guys know that, and that's really all I had to say, unless you guys had something to ask me or anything.
No, I appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
I
Appreciate
appreciate
that.
that.
Yeah, we're
All
not
right,
worried
man.
about the subs, man. Is that's never been subs. Subs come and go. It's part of the game.
Right, right. All right, man. Peace and love.
Thanks, man.
Peace out, my brother. Thanks a lot, man.
Later, brother. Yep.
Peace. Nice, 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 nice. We got who we got? Oh, she just left. I just pulled her up and she jumped off. Christina, I think it was. She jumped off. Subs come and go. That doesn't define you. Subs does not define you. You can have a lot of subs and, that doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't, to be honest with you. It's good for the portfolio. It's good for the business card. And you also could be faking subs too. You could buy subs too. I'm not saying anybody else is buying subs, but what I'm saying is there is a software out there that you can get to make your subs bigger, right? People do it all the time. I've seen it throughout the years. This is something that's been happening for years, but it matters about the engagement and the people who love you. You know what I mean? So if they're there, does it matter how many subs you have? Because in the end, that's all you have. You can have a bunch of subs and people don't engage with you, right? So I get it. If you have more subs, the more likely, you know, bigger things will happen analytically, but that's not always necessarily the case. And I'm cool with the crowd that I have, and I appreciate everybody here tonight, today.
That's right, man.
So,
We're here for you guys. We're here for all of you.
sorry, I had to jump off. I have a puppy, and I needed to go outside to do his business. Good luck with your puppy, for sure. Good luck with your little puppy. I buy subs, meatballs, sometimes steak and cheese. I hear that. Me too. Is the caller in the chat? Let us know. Duke was his name. Oh, I adore you guys so much. Billy, thank you so much. Canines, Pretty Eyes, Road Townie, Italian subs. Link is still up, people. You want to jump in like Duke just did, speak your piece. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, it was a great call, man.
Proctor's driving around, taking the GPS off his car. What a fucking scumbag he is, too. What's going on? Who we talking with? Mitch Beach Lover, you gotta unmute.
Hello.
Hey, hello.
How we doing?
Good. How you doing?
We're okay.
Pretty good.
I'm not too far from where you live.
To who lives?
I just wanted to say that I enjoy this show, even though we don't agree on a couple of topics. But I do like the show.
Nice.
You laughing about something? Is this funny? What's so funny over there?
What's funny?
Yeah, you can't.
No. No. Nothing's funny.
No? Sounds like you're giggling.
That's just a nervous giggle.
Do you want to say anything? You want to talk about anything? You enjoy the show? No?
No, I do like the show.
Okay. That's all you wanted to say?
What do you think of the this Eddie case?
I think that it could have been Artie.
Okay. Could have been.
Yeah, he's definitely a suspect, I would think. Maybe a suspect that was overlooked.
Oh, definitely, because they didn't even do check his DNA or anything.
Where you calling from, if you don't mind me asking?
Winthrop.
Oh, Winthrop, nice. A lot of airplanes fly over your house.
All the 747s.
Oh yeah. How about the 777? Oh, you don't see me flying by?
Yours as well.
Mm,
It's always loud.
it's loud for sure. I like Winthrop though.
Yeah, we
Winthrop.
keep it rocking.
Oh, JFK, you know a friend of mine.
Say what?
You know a friend of mine that does some rapping.
Yeah, who's that?
Problematic.
Yeah, I know problematic.
Problematic.
Yep, I know problematic.
Matt.
You mean? Yeah, I know Matt.
Yep, I know. I saw a video of you guys. It was good.
Appreciate it. Yeah, problematic's a good dude, man. He's a good kid.
I think it was filmed in Lynn.
It was filmed in Lynn for sure.
Yep. Yep.
So what don't you agree on? What don't you agree on?
Well, I was an investigator at an insurance company, so I thought a little bit differently of the Karen Reed thing. I'm sorry?
I didn't say nothing. I'm listening.
An insurance investigator, you say?
Are you talking to somebody else in the background?
No, is it reverbing?
I don't know. Do you got us on in the background? Like, are you watching us
I
in the
do a little
background?
bit, yeah.
You got to turn down your TV or whatever you're watching us on, computer or whatever.
It has the StreamYard screen.
We can hear you.
We can
No,
hear you.
no TV. I guess it's just repeating on my end.
Oh, you're getting some echoes, huh?
Yeah. Like
Maybe
a
you got
delay.
maybe you got two tabs open or something.
I think so.
You might be watching us in live.
That's what it is. Hold on. Yep. That's what it was.
So what did you say? You were in you had an overview of the retrial as like an insurance investigator?
Yeah. Just because people were making so much saying it's a collision, it's not the type of collision that they're thinking. You know,
Yeah.
but I know you guys have your view, and that's fine. We can
So
agree to disagree.
you think Karen's guilty? You saying?
I always thought she was from the get-go.
Oh, so that's why you're giggling.
But, that's okay. That's fine.
Why do you think she's guilty though?
Because the data was there and the timeline, and I know that you don't fully have to have a head-on collision. People think of a collision or a pedestrian strike like you full-on hit the person. That's not the case. You can just clip somebody and they can spin and they can fall and they can hit something else.
What did he
There's
hit
lots
though?
of things that can happen. Unfortunately, there's no eyewitness and no video to show it. So, but she was found not guilty, and that's fine. But it
Right.
was just my opinion. I feel that there was a clipping that occurred.
So you think that based on, well, let me ask you this.
Sure.
And that's okay, that's fine. But why do you think Higgins and Big Bad Brian A and all these different characters, why are they acting so suspect? I mean, you can't agree with their behavior, right? Their
No,
behaviors.
I mean, some of it, I wish there was answers for, like, when people said, "Why didn't Brian come out?" I don't know, like, if he was awake or not, like he said, but there's a lot of things that she did too, though, that people don't question. Like, allegedly, she wiped her phone too before she turned it over. when they questioned her at her home.
Oh, she
at
wiped her phone. If she
parents'
wiped her
home.
phone, if she wiped her phone, there wouldn't have been no Higgins text on it, right? And there wouldn't have
No,
been
because I
no.
think everything's still stored in the cloud. They still found that stuff, regardless. That's like him. He went to somebody and wanted to take off certain information off his phone, but they ended up finding out everything. Yeah, there was some things, but I mean, it's kind of hard for that time frame for all these people to come together. And I'm not saying that there's not conspiracies that happen, because conspiracies everywhere. It's just, I find it hard for all of them not to so much time has passed by and not anybody has spilled any beans. And no one was
Has it
arrested.
been that much time though?
Not tons of time, but I mean, since January
But think
22.
about it. Half the people that were involved weren't even questioned until like some of them 18 months later. So
A
at that
few of the
point,
witnesses, yes. Yeah.
at that point, it's like you're all in, right? They
Right.
didn't get, none of them got put in a room within 72 hours. Now, if that would have happened, it might have been a different outcome, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the big thing was at the scene, since there was no probable cause, they didn't go in the house. I mean, I guess if that had happened, that would have cleared a lot. They should have.
Well, what about the dog? The dog bites. Them are not dog bites. There was a coyote in the neighborhood. What was going on?
Coyote? No,
I
but
know
the
you.
dog.
I know you
They
see
said there was no
coyotes
dog
out there in
DNA.
Winthrop.
Huh?
I know you see the yotes out in Winthrop.
Oh yeah, right across the street at the beach. They'll be there too.
Yeah, right there at the
Um,
Belle Isle, man. They be creeping around in that marsh, man. They're out
Oh
there.
yeah,
They're
they
on the
do.
beach. Yeah,
They do.
they can swim too, them motherfuckers, man.
They can. They say, "Well, make yourself bigger," and yell at them, because I've seen one, and I'm like, "No, that's okay."
Nah, they don't care,
They're
man.
wild creatures.
They're like rats out there in
They
Beantown
are.
now. They're
They are.
everywhere. I
They
mean,
are.
it's getting to the point where it's like they're right in the city, just walking around. Like right when it gets dark at 4:30, they're out.
Exactly. As
So if
soon as
you're
it's
out there,
dusk.
yeah, once you start, if you're jogging and walking your little dog, you got an issue if there's 4 of them or 3
Yeah.
or 2.
I have a bigger dog, but he's kind of like, he'd think there's another dog he could play with. So,
What you say your name was?
Michelle.
Michelle. Well, Michelle, I appreciate your honesty and I appreciate you tuning in. And like I said, it's okay that I hope that, you could one day see that Higgins, the way he was acting,
Mm.
the last thing he said, "Are you coming here?" And then it went down. You seen what happened at the waterfall. You seen
Yeah, I was
you
watching
seen that issue.
the waterfall video, but I just didn't get that. I saw that John did the, heel toe thing, but it didn't. But you can't hear what they're saying, and it didn't seem like.
Well, you can't hear what they're saying, but you got to understand when you seen the reenactment video me and
The
James
body
did.
language of them, you
You
mean?
see. Well, did you see the reenactment video of me and James
Yes.
inside the
Yes.
bar? Well, they were that close. So if he
Yeah.
just wanted to tell him to come to 34 Fairview, he would have just told him, right? He wouldn't have sat there and made a spectacle and been screaming and yelling. And the bug eye video, it makes it in the original OG footage, it makes it look like they were further apart. So it looks like he could have just been, "Hey, John, you coming? Come, make sure
Yeah.
you come," But that's not the case. They were really close. So he wouldn't have to do all that. He would just be like, "Hey, you coming?" He wouldn't have to keep going on and on and on. He would just say what he had to say and leave. So
Yeah.
that right there makes you think, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
okay,
like you said, it
you
was
have.
small in there, but it's seeing the two, seeing him up at the bar and then Higgins over with the two Alberts. You can't see them all together, like who's talking to who, just the motions of his arm. And so I wish you could see the whole scene.
Well, Big Bad Brian A don't come out the house. And here's another thing. Here's something to think about, right? Here's something to think about. That morning, right?
Yep.
Higgins is there, Brian Albert's there, and they're outside. John's body's gone, right? They take John out of there,
My
right?
computer just went
The
down.
crime. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The computer went off.
No, it's all right. It's okay. But this is something to think about that you might have not thought about. That morning they're there, right?
Mhm.
And John's at the hospital at that point. They clear the crime scene, right? Now, allegedly at that point, everybody's in the house talking, right? Jen McCabe, Maddie McCabe, the whole crew of them, right?
Right.
Allegedly, there's 42 pieces of taillight outside. There's a sneaker outside, and there's a hat outside. You got 2 cops inside the house. You mean to tell me they wouldn't have went outside and did their own independent investigation or look around?
I
And if they
definitely
did,
agree
and
there
if they
should be more
did, and if they
investigation.
did, and if they did, they would have found 42 pieces of taillight, a sneaker, and a hat.
Well, they didn't recover all the taillight at first.
But what I'm saying is, you had the 2 cops in the house. They're sitting there
Right.
talking about how John died. If they really didn't do it, they would have sat there and said, "Holy shit, how the hell this happened? Let's go
Yeah.
outside and look around. Like, what the fuck happened?" And they would have went out there and they would have found a hat, found the sneaker, and found 42 pieces of taillight. But they just sat in the house and just let the other cops take care of it. 2 cops, an ATF agent, and a Boston detective. Another thing is, Big Bad Brian A. You know, I could go down the rabbit hole with you, and I'm sure you already heard many shows when I go down these rabbit holes. But Big Bad Brian A., the first thing he probably would have done is call the Boston police and got the Boston police out there. And it would have been white and blue all the way down 95 into Canton. And they would have showed their presence. Like, we're here now just to show their presence. And when you think about the trial, there was not, West Roxbury's right down the street. And there
Right.
was not one white and blue Boston police car in the neighborhood. It was all state police. There wasn't even, they didn't even put a Boston police car just on the street just to show the presence of Boston police. And you got to ask yourself the question, why?
I don't know.
Right?
The only thing, as I know, the weather was bad.
It
So I
wasn't
know that
that
they
bad.
originally they tried. Well, they that morning they were trying to put up. I'm talking about like the winds. They were trying to put up the crime tape, but it wouldn't stay up. And they probably figured no one's going to be walking by there in this type of weather, just strolling up and down the street. But when they did find the sneakers up against, like, they don't even have curbs. They're like those the tar butts the front yard. It's not even really a curb there. And the pieces were found like supposedly under another, so much of snow, but they were all in this area because saw someone today release the CERT report on
Well, I mean,
X.
is it but here's the thing. During the trial, so many things came up. An inverted video pops up.
Yeah, I
Right?
know.
Proctor's the most corrupt person on the planet. The more and more you go down this rabbit hole of things, how about Julie? She's the wild card, right? So if she called Julie at 4:55 in the morning and Julie didn't pick up the phone, right? Julie Albert didn't pick up the phone. Keep in mind, Julie Albert's who's her son? Colin,
Right.
who's Jen McCabe's daughter, is what's her name? Jen McCabe's daughter, Allie
Caitlin.
McCabe.
Oh,
No,
Allie.
that's Allie McCabe. So they're friends, right? So you got
Right.
Allie, who was that drove Colin home, and you got Julie. So Julie gets a phone call at 5 in the morning, right,
Right.
by her best friend Jen McCabe, right?
Mhm.
And allegedly, it's a missed call as she goes to bring the 6 donuts in this crazy weather you're talking about. To bring 6 donuts and coffee, she goes into the driveway and notices Jen McCabe's truck right there, right? Knowing
Right.
that she got a missed call from her. Right, and the truck is there, but she doesn't care that Jen McCabe's there. She goes over and does the ritual. She opens up the car door. She drops the coffee in
Getting
there
from
and the
Brian
donuts.
Albert Jr.
And as she's walking out the driveway, Big Bad Brian A. does the ooh, ooh. Hey, we need to talk to you for a minute. What do you want to talk to me for? Come in there. We need to talk. She walks in there. There's a whole crew of people there. You got Jen, you got Maddie, you got Higgins, and you got Nicole, and you got good old Big Bad Brian A. Hey, John was found on the lawn. You know what she said? Her testimony? John who?
Who? Julie said John who?
Yeah, she testified to that.
I
So
don't remember her saying that.
if you got, well, she said it. She said it. I can assure you, she said it. So my
Well,
point
he
is 6
wasn't really
donuts.
good friends with them. I mean, but he knew Jen.
But she was with him the night before. She left, but she knew who John is. I mean, she knew what John they were talking about. That was her neighbor, One Meadows Ave. But that morning, you mean to tell me she got a missed call by Jen McCabe? She sees the truck there. The first thing she doesn't do is go up to the door to see what this is family. Chris Albert, that's her husband.
Jen was there.
Yeah, why is Jen there at 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday?
Yeah.
In a blizzard, this weather you're talking about. Why is she there? But no, that's just, I got to drop the donuts off and I got to get out of there. So when you start opening it up, this is not done by design. the conspiracy that they think it's a done conspiracy, like the conspiracy was drawn up. This is what happens when you ask questions. It's kind of funny about asking questions,
Right.
isn't it? Because when you ask questions, you get down to the bottom of shit.
Yeah.
And some
I mean,
people don't like it.
one thing I know, they all were drinking, so that doesn't mix well after midnight. And,
Right.
but none of them got caught for anything, drinking or driving or anything like that. But
Well, they weren't. They weren't. I mean, you're from Winthrop. You know how it is. If you're a
I
Winthrop
was just
cop,
gonna
you could.
say we're kind of like a Canton. So when
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, well, this one knows this one, and this one's related to that one," believe me, there's a lot of towns like that everybody knows everybody's
Oh,
business.
Winthrop, man, come on, man. There's only two ways in.
That's it.
That's it. You're
So
either going through Eastie or you're creeping through Revere.
that's it. That's it. And if one shuts down due to a storm, forget it.
Did you live there when the Brighams was there?
Yes, I've lived here all my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
I used to go with a girl on Almont Street over there.
Oh yeah,
in Winthrop.
Elmore. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to hang on the beach with her. I used to hang out there in that square too, man. There used
Oh,
to be a gang. There was like a gang out there, believe it or not, back in the '90s called the Miami. They wore hurricane jackets.
Oh yeah,
They wore,
I think I remember that.
yeah, there was a couple of Winthrop kids that hooked up with the East Boston kids,
I
and
was just gonna say it was always East Boston was the rival.
yeah, the Eastie kids,
Yep.
dude. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. But listen, I appreciate it, Michelle. You take it easy, and
You
keep
too.
watching, and
You
you
too,
take
and
care,
I'll
right?
see what happens in the future with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay golden, girl.
All right, you too. Bye,
Have a
Kevin.
good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
That's an interesting phone call interaction because she thinks Karen Reed did it, and that's okay. She has her own opinion.
Yeah.
She's not vile about it,
Yeah.
and that's the way she thinks about it, and that's okay. But you got to lay down the facts, and because the conspiracy was not drawn up. And peace to Michelle out there in Winthrop. I appreciate you coming up here, having the heart to come up here and speak your piece. A lot of people won't do that. So peace to you, Michelle.
Yep. Great call.
Yeah, seems real nice. Very kind. I like Winthrop. Winthrop's a nice place. Got a nice little ice cream shop, a nice little downtown area. It's a cool, expensive as shit down there now. Good little community. You're right there. You're right by Revere, right by East Boston. That's a place, like, perfect example, that should just be Boston, right? I mean, you could walk from Winthrop to East Boston or walk from Winthrop to Revere. Like, why isn't it just Boston? Like, it's back to, like, someone from Boston. If you say you're from Winthrop, someone will say, you're not from Boston. I mean, technically, Winthrop is Boston. I mean, it's on Logan Airport property. I mean, all day long, you got 747s flying over your head.
Oh, yeah. What was that little town, that little spot in between there? Beachmont?
Beachmont, but that's still Revere.
Yeah. It used to be that restaurant, Jimmy Mag's. Remember, it used to have an airplane sticking out of the top of the roof?
Yeah. Yep. We still got the link up. Take a couple of more if anybody wants to jump in. Duke and Duke, 9 people left that didn't notice the 220-pound guy laid out in the front lawn, suspect. And that's what it comes down to. And she was misinformed, but she was pleasant, for sure, Norman. And that's okay. I mean, I'm with all that. We can have disagreements, like, as far as, and you got to have thick skin, because I think if the trial was still going on, it would be more of a issue, because it's like, she's fighting for her life. How could you? She'd get found guilty for something she didn't do. But now that it's not guilty, if someone thinks she's still guilty and got away with it, that's okay, because she's free as far as that part goes. That's the murder case and all that's put to bed. Now it's the civil trial time, which is a different ball game.
Still a fight.
Still a fight. Proctor took her phone out, her hand, for God's sake. When did she wipe the phone? That's just nonsense. Never came up at trial because it didn't happen. Norman Corey with the facts. Norman Corey don't play games when it comes to the facts. Thank you, Norm. Appreciate you, brother. No surveillance from the neighbors, for sure.
Yeah, when you think about that case, man, no ring cams. There was another officer that lived, a couple doors down from Brian Albert. Just a mess.
It is
a mess of where, like, you said something earlier about, like, you'd think Brian Albert would have called the Boston police and said, hey, I just want to give you a heads up that, we were out last night and Officer John O'Keefe was found on my front lawn. I mean, we don't know what the fuck happened, but I'm just giving you a heads up. There was no presence of a Boston cop, like you said, in respect of, a man down, one of their officers down. But obviously,
I think this is a troll. Hold on. Are you trolling us? Karen Greed?
What are you talking about?
That's your name, Karen Greed. Just came up.
What's up, guys?
What's happening? I take it you disagree with everything we're saying, and are you part of the hater crew? You hate us? You love us?
Oh,
What's
come
going
on! I ain't about the hater crew.
All right, what you want to talk about, bro?
You got the mic, man.
What happened?
Oh, hey, what's going on, guys? There's a delay. I don't know how the hell to get rid of the delay.
Oh man, is this Mark, man? It is, huh? Yeah, this is Marky, man. He used to call all the time. He obviously doesn't know how to work the stream yet.
I have no fucking clue.
He's got to turn it down in the back, man. Turn down whatever you're watching us on. And you will. It's going to be a delay.
All right, I can't hear it. But...
We're here, man. What's up? Talk. Say what you got to say, bro. Just say what you want to say, my dude.
Hey, listen, I'll say this, and I'm gonna get off. I appreciate you guys actually taking calls from people who think that she might be guilty, and I'll let you guys go from there.
All right, my man. Peace and love. Well, there you have it, Mark. That was. Well, it doesn't matter if you think she's guilty, right? Because she's not guilty. So, I mean, it doesn't hit the same anymore.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, let me tell you something. I mean, we've said this before, and not for nothing, but to hear, that kind of feedback that other people have a different opinion. That's how Karen Reed right now is living her life. Some people believe and know that she's not guilty, and some people think that she is still guilty of John O'Keefe's death, and that's gonna ride with her for a long time. I mean, that's why sometimes we talk about where she is right now, and has enough time passed. You're not going to change that. And people have their own opinion of things. And the only way that you can realize that other people still think a different way is when they speak on it. So just goes to show you that she's still she's still looked at as a different person. So
I mean, imagine if Eddie O'Brien gets out.
Yeah, I mean, you
He's
heard
gonna be known as the guy who killed someone, sliced someone up 100 times. Even if,
Yeah.
like, let's just say for reasonable doubt, he has a retrial, and they find a reasonable doubt, and because that's reasonable doubt if you put that dude involved. The cab's there, parked the other way. The keys are gone. Can I go in the house to look for him? So you're basically saying that you was there, right? And now people are like, well, he could have did it. Reasonable doubt, right? Boom. He gets out. They never charge anybody else. He never gets exonerated. And now he's the guy who killed Janet. But some people think he did, and some people think he did. It's kind of like the same fucking thing. There's another culprit. Question is, are they gonna arrest the other culprit?
Yeah.
Or they just, for the sake of saving face, they leave him in. Did he do it? Maybe he did. Maybe he did do it. But based on what we've seen with evidence, he could beat this case.
Yeah.
You get a jury up there, you get the right lawyer. I mean, like I said, that's the gist of it. So I don't know the ins and the outs, but if it is what everybody's saying it is what we listened to tonight, it sounds like a very beatable case. It's easier said than done, of course, because he's already locked up, and he's got to go through the process to get the appeal, and that's going to be the hard part for it to actually go through. Now, basically, the fix might be in, right? Like, hey, take the parole. We'll give you parole if you say you did it, and we'll get you out. Right? Is that the fix? Say you did it. We'll give you the parole, and we get you out. But you're never going to get your appeal. I mean, he's 45 years old now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Commonwealth, I mean, has tried to, give him some kind of fucking option,
Yeah.
I mean, if he's getting denied, they're going to speak on why they denied him. I mean, he's got to take all that in. When was his first parole? His first parole hearing? Is that what just passed?
Yeah, October 2024.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure he's got a they wrote they handwrote their decision, or he got the transcript of that hearing. So it's his first one. I mean, I'm sure there's inmates that have been through.
Well, he sees it again in another 5 years, so he got another 4 years to see it again. So when he turns 50. Well, with that being said, I go by the name of J.F.K.
And I go by Kev.
I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. The YouTube presentation, we're about to take it down to 3,000 feet, put this landing gear down, and get you home safe to your destination. I appreciate you. Remember, turbulence in the chat keeps the plane rocking. JFK show off on the Venmo Cash App. Kev781 on the Cash App. Go hit him up. Kevy Kev 781 on the Cash App, or Kevy Kev 781 on the YouTube. Go sub up, go like a video, go hit them up. Support my man Kevy Kev. Of course. Can we keep it real podcast? Let me take this real quick. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How we doing, fellas, man? First time calling you guys, but the case like Eddie, there's a lot of cases throughout a lot of institutions, where, people doing time, and with that whole juvenile thing. You look in Rhode Island, Craig Price, yeah, he was a savage killer. But the state only gave him 7 years, and then the state manipulated charges to keep him in jail. You know what I mean? So there's so many people, that are incarcerated that people look at, oh, they're guilty because just for the fact that they got arrested.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But salute to you guys, don't ever change up. Keep doing what got you here, being real, being true. Screw all them other haters. Just be yourself, man.
I
Keep it
appreciate
real, right?
you, man. What's your name, man?
My name's Mike. I'm down in I'm from Providence.
Okay, cool, man. That's
Providence,
what's up, man.
Rhode Island, shout out to you. Keep doing what you're doing. I have a podcast. It's kind of around a lot of high school sports, but we also call out a lot of the bullshit that goes on in the community. Like one of the local schools here, the gym teacher was banging the football team.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? So she got called out, but yeah, there's a lot of bullshit that goes on, and we gotta keep it real, keep it authentic, and call out.
So that's the name of it, Keeping It Real. That's the URL, Keeping It Real podcast?
Yeah, Can We Keep It Real podcast. I do more stuff on Facebook. YouTube's a little tougher, but I get about 250,000 views a month on Facebook.
Nice.
You know what I mean? But yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out to your boy James. Tell him to hold it down. I follow you guys. I don't appreciate what Turtle Boy did as far as recording, because I look at it like a lot of people hit me up with some sources, and if I start recording people, why am I going to even be trusted?
Right.
Why are you going to trust me if you're coming to me because I could be trusted with your information? And now if I start recording people, like that's just some grimy shit. And he said months ago that if there was a deal in place, he'd take it. You know what I mean? To get out of this stuff and stop telling people you're going to do 105 years. You know what I mean? I was on trial for 3 banks. All right, I would have done 90, but no way you'll ever get convicted. You know what I mean? Like, it don't work that way. So
right.
Stop lying and telling people the 12 months you're going to get, 18 months with 4.5 years probation. That's probably all it'll ever be max.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, hope. Keep doing your shit. I'm actually delivering donuts now. Look.
Nice,
you
buddy.
See him?
Yeah, I see him. Fuckery Donuts is officially open, my man.
God damn. You got a jelly?
Yeah, you guys
got the jelly. You got the colors. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, shout out to you guys. But yeah, every time I see you go live, because I think you guys are. What got you here was being real, being yourself, and don't change for that fake ass community. You know what I mean? Be yourself, man. Be real. You know what I mean? Do what got you here, and shout out to your boy too. You know what I mean? And rest in peace to his situation.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Right,
He'll love that, man. I appreciate you, brother. Keeping It Real podcast, man. What you say your name was again?
My name's Mike.
Mike, I
Ribello.
appreciate.
Yep. Shout out to you guys. Kevy Kev, hold it down. I checked out his channel as well. You know what I mean? You guys remind me where I came from.
Nice.
Right on, man.
You call back anytime, my brother. You jump on anytime, my man.
Absolutely, man. I'll talk to
Peace
you
and
later.
love. Enjoy your day, brother.
All right, peace.
Peace. That was beautiful, man. The love is real. The love is real. The love is real.
What do you say? It was from Providence?
From Providence. My man Mike, Keeping It Real podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, go check him out. And like I said, I go by the name of J.F.K.
And I go by Kevy Kev.
We'll see you next flight. Peace and love.
Peace.
shit,
All my mods, what the duck, Natalie, making changes, all my mods up in here, Norman, everybody that dropped the super chat, we appreciate y'all. Let's go.
Let's make another year for it. Struggling and stressing, brother, but you here for it. Life sends you in a tailspin without no real warnings. Sat on the porch all night, damn, I used to rip flows. All the girls you stared at, yeah, I used to get those. Them chicks started smoking crack, now the kids are all schizos. Another day in the hood, homie, you know how that shit goes. You ever look at a calendar, be scared to count it? He never did a day of time, so we rap about it. Real ones traumatized, we could do without it. System is rigged, they got us surrounded. They talk shit, brown nose, they are in your business. Be your close ones, boast fun, show interest. At your front door, ghost guns, load of switches. For a Rolex, leave you dead, no witness. Let's go. We just trying to live, please leave us alone. We fighting for justice, we trying to make it home. From Proctor to Mulligan in the combat zone. They killed Jigga right in front of the stove. No more sitting for summers, just trying to change our ways. Lost the sting, but that sensation stays. Chasing validation, I can see the hate in their face. He is scared he gonna die, history reading today. Welcome to the stream. We be Keith, James, Jackson, J.F.K. 39,000 feet. Let's go. Let's go. Let's make the goal. 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 Hey yo. Hey yo. Hey yo. Hey yo. Yeah. Why? Read between the lines. Yeah. Why? I know you feeling hurt, your mind flipped, that was a moment in time, can't rewind it. I seen your call, can't talk, declined it, said I was sorry, liquor had me blinded. I know about your issues, you're not feeling well. What you going through, girl, it's a living hell. Sometimes I bug out, I just flip and yell. Just come out tonight, we can sip and chill. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey yo, yeah, shit on.